Late night at the convenience store, our girl clocks out after another long shift and checks her schedule before heading home. Her calendar is packed, between the restaurant and the karaoke bar. She does not have a single day off. She dreamed of a normal high school life, but reality has her drowning in work. Ever since she lost her mother, life with her father has been a constant struggle. Her dad is a deadbeat addicted to alcohol and burning through cash. After years of dealing with his mess, she finally asked her relatives for help and ran away. Finally on her own, she was sure that escaping that house would be the start of a much easier life. But reality is not that sweet. Since she did not know when her father would try to take her back, she moved into an apartment with a secure auto-lock system. Living alone is proving to be way tougher than she bargained for. With no help coming from her relatives, she is out here grinding every single day just to keep the lights on. Graduation requires a perfect record, so neglecting her studies is a no-go. She finishes work at 10, handles the chores, and starts studying. The cycle never ends. Everything is starting to feel hazy. She rubs her eyes, dreading the ancient literature homework due tomorrow. Life as a minor is not exactly the peak of freedom she expected. Escaping her father was supposed to be the start of something better. In class, the rumors are already flying. The other girls think Konami is just bad at socializing. Hearing their whispers while trying to stay focused, she knows exactly why she is the odd one out. Coming in as a mid-semester transfer student did not help her case. Being the top student just made the social wall even taller. Just when she thought her day could not get any more complicated, a guy stops her. He drops the big question and asks her to go out with him. Konami shuts it down on the spot. Since she does not know him, she tells him it is just not possible. The cold walk home is filled with doubts about her logic. Rejecting the most popular guy in class feels completely irrational. Visions of a normal life start taking over. A cute friend and a fun school experience are the ultimate goals. Grabbing tea after school would be the ultimate luxury, but her current budget makes even a small drink feel impossible. The hunger is starting to talk. Her mind is a carousel of sushi, burgers, and shabu-shabu. An all-you-can-eat buffet is the stuff of legends. She quickly pulls herself together and admits it is just a wild dream. Her smartphone and credit card are the only companions left. She laughs along with a low-quality video while heading home in the dark. Even with the fake laughs, the empty weight in her chest won't go away. She's convinced her life is completely meaningless. She looks at a trail of ants and thinks they have it better than her. At least they have a family and a place where they belong to her. She's just a piece of broken concrete on the sidewalk. A memory of her grandma suddenly surfaces. The old woman's voice echoes in her head, promising her that everything is going to be all right. As the light turns green, she offers a quiet thank you to the past. She steps into the street, trying to believe those comforting words. She keeps telling herself she'll be fine, right up until a pair of headlights suddenly blinds her. And then kaboom! Truck-kun has officially entered the chat. The impact sends everything into darkness. But instead of waking up in the afterlife, she opens her eyes to a wooden ceiling in a place she's never seen before. She looks around in confusion. Wait, where am I? Wasn't I supposed to get hit by that car and die? Our girl is having a major midlife crisis at this age. She realizes she has shrunk, and looking down at her tiny shoes, the reality finally hits. She stands up to test the new hardware, but the processing speed is slow. It finally clicks that she has literally become a kid, and the panic sets in immediately. Looking around the room, she spots a pitcher of water and a wet towel on the nightstand. It looks like the owner of this body was sick in bed when her memories from her previous life returned. She realizes she has officially been isekai'd into another world. Thankfully, she spent enough time reading web novels on her phone to know exactly how this trope works. As she walks across the floor, she notices her new hair is a silky light purple. She reaches out to touch a window, only to find the glass is completely covered in grime. Looking at her reflection, she notices her face looks exactly like it did before. The glass is filthy, but her new deep purple eyes still stand out. Despite how strange this all is, she actually feels a weird sense of relief. This new start means she is finally free from her father and her suffocating high school life. Realizing how heavy that burden actually was, she is more than ready to move on. She closes her eyes and sends a quick thank you to the heavens. She is not wasting this second chance. Looking back at her old self, she vows to never repeat those mistakes. Success is the only option this time. Her dream is simple. Forget being a billionaire, she just wants enough cash for unlimited yakiniku and buffets. A cute friend and a loving mom are on the wish list, but she is swiping left on marriage. It is meat over romance forever. Goals established, now it is time to brain dump the memories of whoever owned this body before her. The data download hits like a truck, leaving her completely stunned on the floor. She is Myria Du Ra Atwood, an 8-year-old and the youngest of 7 sisters in a broke noble family. Everyone calls her a good-for-nothing blockhead, which is a rough start for her new life. This is the reality she has to deal with now. Maria is losing her mind as the memories flood in. She is so panicked that she actually loses control of her feet. The Atwood territory sits on the far west side of the kingdom. They are barely scraping by with a struggling lavender business. Her new family is a disaster, specifically her father Aaron and her older sister Robin. These two are the definition of big trouble. Aaron is a total muscle brain who only cares about hunting. He is actually considering selling his daughters off just to get permission to hunt in the neighbor's woods. Then there is Robin, who moved back home after a scandalous affair. Thanks to her, the family name is trash, and now they want to marry off 8-year-old Myria to a random merchant. It gets even worse because the girl is basically used as a human stress relief object. Myria feels like she has been reborn into a literal demon's nest. Face down on the floor, she clenches her fists as the reality sinks in. This is going to be a long road. She realizes sitting around isn't an option. It is time to make a move. Morning prep starts with clean water and a twig for a toothbrush. Not exactly the high-tech setup she is used to. A quick peek reveals her new mother, Ella, who seems like the classic hardworking parent type. Time to play the part of the family blockhead to keep things simple. She greets her mom and gets told to help herself to some bread. It is a quiet, calm start to the day. The menu features black bread that is basically a brick and a strange-looking fruit. This stuff is so dry it is actually a struggle to swallow. Choking down the meal while watching everyone else work. She needs a solid plan to avoid being a useless bystander. This fruit is tasteless and looks terrible, but if it has nutrients, she is eating every bite. Her new body has an appetite that feels strangely familiar to her old self. Resting her head on the table, she sighs about her never-ending bad luck with men. Even in a whole new world, she is dealing with a father who is just as much of a headache as her previous one. A family of 7 girls and 0 boys is a disaster for an aristocratic house. This fact alone is enough to ruin their social standing. Looking over the marriage plans, she sees the family trying to salvage their name through the eldest sister, Bonnie. The idea is to bring in a son-in-law named Alex and have him become a knight to keep the lineage alive. Memories of Aaron's terrible temper start to resurface. He has always been a nightmare to deal with because he never got a male heir, and poor Bonnie is the one paying the price for it. Dinner every night is a repeat of Aaron's insensitive demands for a grandchild. Bonnie's husband, Alex, just laughs through the awkwardness, which does nothing to fix the toxic vibe. A horrifying realization suddenly clicks into place. She stands up so fast her chair screeches, her face pale as she finally understands the mess she was born into. The situation in this house is actually insane. Myria realizes she is in way over her head with this family drama. She starts sprinting while processing the terrible news about Alex. That dude is definitely a predator and needs to be stopped immediately. There is no way she can handle this mess alone. She needs an ally who understands just how cursed this household really is. Her 4th sister Jasmine is too busy working as a servant to be any help. Plus, the poor girl can barely see what is in front of her. That leaves only one person who might actually listen. This new body has absolutely 0 cardio, but she keeps pushing toward her 6th sister Chloe. She finally spots her and goes in for a desperate hug. Chloe is completely caught off guard by the sudden contact. Chloe asks what the big deal is and jokes about her being a little lavender fairy. Our girl is just trying to catch her breath before dropping the truth. Catching her breath, she knew it was time to come clean. Chloe watched as Myria prepared to reveal everything about their family and this world. Maria finally reaches her destination, collapsing into Chloe's arms while gasping for air. Chloe looks down at her little sister with genuine concern, asking why she's panicking so hard. Our MC is basically dying because her new 8-year-old body has 0 cardio. Staring up at her sister, Myria is hit with the realization that Chloe is a total top-tier beauty. Even at 10 years old, the girl has an aura that feels way too mature for this family. Our girl is so stunned she even gives her a weird nickname in her head. It turns out Chloe isn't just a pretty face. She's the resident genius who has already cleared every book in the manor. She's cracked at reading and math, making it hard to believe she shares DNA with their muscle-brained father. She's the perfect ally for the survival plan. Despite her looks, Chloe is wearing a dress covered in patches that looks more like a bad cosplay than noble attire. She leans in with a playful smirk, clearly amused by her sister's intense staring. It's a sad reminder of how broke this family actually is. Chloe gives Myria a gentle head pat, noting that it is her first time ever seeing the little blockhead actually run. She takes her sister by the hand, leading her toward a spot to sit down and recover. She promises to get her some water to help her calm down. Settling down by a tree, Chloe hands over a cup of water and tells her to take a breather. Myria accepts the drink with a shaky thank you, feeling bad for suddenly scaring her favorite sister. The run was brutal, but the first part of the mission is complete. The chill vibes do not last long because Chloe immediately senses something is off. She tilts her head and asks why Myria is acting so different today, sending our MC into a full-blown internal panic. The cover might already be blown. Chloe plays it off like she is just her usual self, but Myria is internally screaming. The girl is convinced her sister has some kind of mind-reading powers. Trying to drown her panic in a cup of water, Myria realizes just how sharp her sister really is. A sweet smile and a head pat are the only things keeping her from a total meltdown. Chloe makes it clear that no matter what, her sister will always be Myria. She feels bad for putting so much pressure on her favorite little sibling. Irreplaceable. That is what Chloe calls her, and Myria can only stare back with eyes full of pure wonder and gratitude. The dam finally breaks as Myria lunges forward, crying her heart out. She is overwhelmed by the first bit of genuine kindness she has felt in this new life. In this moment, Myria realizes that Chloe is her only real ally in this house. This gentle warmth reminds her exactly of her grandmother from her previous life. In her old world, she was just a lonely girl with no friends and a bedridden relative. Having someone like Chloe in this life feels like a miracle she never expected. Chloe's comforting scent of lavender fills the air as she offers a rare moment of peace. Myria wishes this feeling could last forever, but the reality of their situation forces her to break the silence. Chloe ni sama. While her sister listens, Myria admits she's finally seeing the family for what they really are. She keeps the whole reincarnation thing a secret though, knowing that memories from a past life is a bit too much to drop on someone. Bringing up the mess that is the Atwood family, she bets her genius sister is also looking for a way out. Our girl is officially asking for backup, hoping Chloe can lead the way. Chloe isn't surprised that even the family blockhead has caught on to their dad and Alex being total creeps. It's about time Myria realized how dangerous this house actually is. Looking toward the horizon, Chloe reveals her secret plan to ghost this village for good. She's been holding this in for a while, but it's finally time for her sister to know the truth. Escaping the suffocating confinement of this place is the only way Chloe can avoid being sold off to some shady family. Hearing this, Myria realizes they've both been feeling the exact same pressure. Twice a year, a trading party from the Hanson Baron family visits, and the chief is already making moves to introduce her to the noble house. The window to escape is closing fast, and the threat of a forced marriage is becoming all too real. Chloe drops the bomb that their dad is shopping her around just to get hunting rights in a nearby forest. The thought of being a human bargaining chip for a permit gives her actual chills. It gets way worse because she is basically a replacement for a ticket to become some dude's 25th wife. She is definitely not about to be part of that collection. Myria realizes they only have a small window because the drama from their sister's divorce is keeping the family distracted. Once that heat dies down, Chloe is back on the auction block. Escape is the only option before she hits 12 and becomes officially eligible for marriage. That is the deadline before things get really dangerous. She mentions how the queen started a special girls' academy 10 years ago to change things up for women in the kingdom. The idea of an academy sounds like a legit dream. Chloe confirms that this school is their best shot at freedom. This isn't just a regular school, it's a place meant to help talented women level up their social standing. It gives girls a chance to actually make something of themselves in a world full of noble politics. Myria is genuinely impressed to find out that girls' schools are a thing in this world. Chloe starts to break the news about her big plan to move forward. She is officially taking the academy entrance exams to find her own path. It is a bold move for someone in her position. Chloe is ready to bet everything on these exams using the money she saved from the church. This level of resolve makes Myria see her as a true big sister. She admits her biggest worry is leaving Myria behind and reaches out to comfort her. Her touch is filled with genuine affection and concern. Myria is practically losing it from all the head pats and care. Chloe hates the idea of leaving her sister in this desolate, wheatless countryside that feels like the end of the world. Myria barely keeps her cool after almost losing herself to the affection. She manages to tell Chloe that they are on the same page about their future. A soft laugh and a warm smile prove how much she cares. She knows their bond is mutual and does not hold back her love. Chloe is laying it on thick with the sisterly love, praising everything from Myria's eyes to her tiny hands. Our girl is absolutely flustered, waving her hands and trying to shut down the over-the-top affection. Seeing her sister look heartbroken, Myria quickly clears the air and admits she is also ready to leave the Atwood family behind. Reality sets in for Myria as she realizes how much she does not know about the world. She worries that she will just be a burden to her sister who is already risking everything. The mood shifts as Myria looks up with big, sparkling eyes. She tentatively tests out a more personal name, asking if she can call her Chloe Wani-chan. The informal name sends Myria into a mini panic because she is afraid their mother will be furious. She starts frantically apologizing for the slip-up while waving her hands. Reassuring her with a warm hug and a gentle smile, Chloe makes it clear she will always be her sister and wants to hear that name when they are alone. One more practice round makes it official. Holding onto her sister's apron, Myria softly repeats the name. Chloe agrees to the nickname and tells her she can use it whenever they are alone. Myria is in heaven, blushing and giggling as she accepts the new deal. The cuteness is too much for Chloe, so she has to look away and clear her throat to stay professional. Myria is left wondering why her sister is suddenly acting so weird. Chloe moves on to their study plan, bringing up history, politics, and monsters. When she mentions magic, Maria gets a spark in her eyes. She leans in close, asking if magic is real and begging to learn it immediately. This could be her ticket to an easy life, and she is not about to let it go. Chloe looks a bit awkward and mentions they already went over this during her aptitude test. Maria is too busy daydreaming about her potential power to see the bad news coming. A memory from the test hits like a truck. The verdict was clear: Maria has no magic affinity. In this world, there is a power known as magic. It is the force that allows humans to fly through the sky, materialize water, and bring down snow. People call those who wield it magicians, and everyone else is just watching with envy. Having magical aptitude is a 1 in a million role, and even fewer people can actually put it to practical use. The Atwood family has a total magic dry spell, with 0 magicians appearing in over 150 years. Maria realizes her dream of an easy life is on life support. She expected the typical main character treatment with a broken hidden ability. Instead, the reality of being stuck in a dead-end life is hitting her hard. Chloe notices her sister spacing out and offers her some water to snap her out of it. She takes a drink and tells herself to keep it together. Maria laughs it off, telling Chloe she was just a bit shocked by a sudden memory. Chloe laughs and says it is okay, but she has one tiny condition. Since they are alone, she wants to be called Big Sister Chloe from now on. Seeing those sparkling eyes makes Maria cave immediately. She gives a shy thank you while the two sisters start heading back together. A sudden cut to the lavender fields reveals a view so beautiful it looks like a scene from a travel vlog. Maria thinks the peaceful scenery is a lot like Hokkaido. Unfortunately, this pretty village is basically a prison for anyone living here. Everyone is forced to give up on their dreams just to survive the harsh reality. This triggers a memory of a carriage arriving in town. Maria tries to recall exactly what went down during the big event that happened yesterday. It turns out a high-ranking priest visited the local church to oversee a special test. He gathered every 8-year-old child in the village for a magic evaluation. All they had to do was touch a magic crystal to see if it would glow. Of course, it was a total disaster as not a single child managed to show any talent. Maria drops a bombshell about her body heating up during the magic test, which makes Chloe wonder if it was just a regular fever. Our MC is confused because the heat started the exact moment she reached for the crystal. Chloe goes into nurse mode and checks her forehead to make sure she is okay now. She is puzzled because getting a heat reaction from a crystal is supposed to be impossible without having a drop of magic talent. Big Sis is not letting this mystery go and decides they need to find some answers. She squishes Maria's cheeks while admitting she has never seen a reaction like this in any of her magical books. The plan is set. They are going to raid their dad's library later to see if Chloe missed any details. Maria is so hyped for the help that she tackles her sister with a massive thank you hug. Chloe melts and hugs her back, promising to handle everything for her adorable little sister. She just has one condition: Maria has to keep calling her big sister Chloe whenever they are alone. This level of genuine kindness is a total first for our MC, who never had anyone look out for her like this. Her adult brain is basically short-circuiting from all the wholesome energy, but she is definitely not complaining. Back in the garden, Chloe admits she is shocked by how sharp and mature Maria has suddenly become. She is starting to see her little sister in a completely different light. Maria scrambles for an excuse, realizing Chloe would never believe she is actually from Japan. She plays it off with a nervous laugh, questioning if her home country even exists in this world. Chloe mentions how the villagers always called Maria a peculiar girl. Our MC leans into the reputation to hide her relief, glad her weird vibes are just seen as a personality trait. Big Sis decides that Maria must have been blessed with divine wisdom. She prays for her little sister to have a long and healthy life, while Maria just watches her, feeling the love. Looking out over the fields, Maria admits to herself that Chloe is the only good thing about living in this house. It turns out Chloe is the secret carry for the family business. Since she turned 10, she has been handpicking the best lavender to create the jam that brings in all their money. The realization hits Maria hard. Her 10-year-old sister is single-handedly keeping the Atwood household from financial ruin. Maria wonders if this toxic environment forced Chloe to become a genius or if she was just born this way. Watching her sister smile, she decides Chloe is a beauty and a miracle. Chloe drops the ultimate career goal. She wants to hit up the academy to master the art of business. Maria is left wondering how her sister became so money-minded. The plan is actually genius. Big Sis wants to build a trading empire that moves goods across the whole kingdom fairly. She knows the right school is her only ticket to making those high-level connections. Chloe asks if the plan sounds good, and Maria is absolutely here for it. Her eyes turn into literal diamonds as she realizes her sister is actually a visionary. The mood shifts when Maria asks what the neighbors think of their land. Looking at the single dilapidated shop in town, she starts to realize they are living in a ghost town. Chloe gives a 1,000-yard stare as she explains their geography. They are boxed in by monster-infested forests and massive mountains, earning their home the nickname of the isolated land. It turns out going to the Atwood territory is basically a noble's way of saying they are on a suicide mission. Chloe laughs it off, but Myria is starting to sweat buckets. Reality checks the MC hard. Escaping this place solo isn't just hard, it is straight up impossible. Chloe is losing her mind. The thought of Myria getting hurt in the woods has her spiraling into a mess. Myria just stands there, feeling bad for stressing her out so much. After catching her breath, Chloe apologizes for the drama. She gets serious, explaining that there are so many kids in the country stuck in the same toxic cycle they are. She wants to change their fate. This hits Myria hard. Seeing the world is impossible without books, and without that knowledge, every dream just washes away. She realizes Chloe is on a mission to save more than just herself. Chloe looks at her lavender with a sharp gaze. To make her plan work, she is going to need a mountain of cash. Myria nods along, barely keeping up with the big goals. The vibe shifts as Chloe leans in to make it official. This has to stay a secret. Not a single word to their dad or the older sisters about the academy or her faking a fever. There is one person who would definitely ruin everything if she found out. The second daughter, Robin, is the biggest threat to their escape. Myria looks terrified just thinking about her standing in their way. I will definitely never tell her, Myria promises with a gritty look. Chloe just giggles, happy to have a real partner in crime. It is finally our secret now. The church bell rings to wrap up the workday, and Chloe decides it is time to head back for an early dinner. This is a huge first for our MC, who has never had someone to walk home with in either of her lives. She cheers and follows right behind. Chloe reaches out to lock hands, and the simple gesture causes Myria to stand a little taller. Seeing her sister beam with such pure energy makes the entire plan feel possible. They are officially moving forward as a team. Vowing to be the ultimate big sister, Chloe promises to be Myria's ally no matter what happens in the future. She is fully committed to their secret mission. The weight of that promise hangs in the air as they continue their walk through the fields. Myria returns the favor by declaring her own loyalty to her big sister. The two of them head home as a united front, bound by a secret pact and a grip they never plan on letting go. Myria and Chloe finally make it back to the house, but the vibe is already dead. Someone from inside warns them that they are late for dinner and shouldn't keep the family waiting. They step into the room and it basically feels like a funeral. The entire family is sitting there in complete silence, making it feel more like a vigil than a normal meal. Myria catches a glimpse of the second daughter, Robin, and realizes her memories did not do her justice. She is stunning, but the tension in the room is so thick, it is giving Myria a stomachache. Flashback to earlier, Chloe was being the perfect big sister while they were washing up. She explained how to make the water work for them, even though Myria felt a bit silly being treated like a baby. Back in the present, Robin is definitely not in the mood for games. She stands up and demands that the two of them get over to her right this second. This is the infamous second daughter who just moved back home after her marriage ended. She looks like a total beauty, but she is clearly about to lose her cool. Robin starts calling Myria a midget and tells them to just leave her be. She is way more worried about Chloe's marriage with the Hansen family being ruined by some bad rumors. Chloe plays it cool and suggests that the local gossip probably won't travel all the way to the southern city. She even adds a bit of shade, calling Robin's caution as wise as a magician. Robin takes the compliment for a split second before the confusion sets in. She ends up as a blushing mess, hiding her face in her hands. Robin gets her guard back up and tells Chloe not to get cocky just because she reads books. She drops the hammer and reminds Chloe that she is meant to be the 25th wife of a baron. Myria watches from the side and realizes that Robin is a professional hater. She is purposely bringing up things that she knows Chloe is stressed about. Robin catches Myria's intense gaze and demands to know what is with the look. Myria panics and reminds herself that she needs to keep acting like a mindless kid to avoid trouble. Robin starts aggressively slapping Myria's backside to clear off the dust. The poor girl is left yelping in pain from the sudden physical attack disguised as help. Chloe begs Robin to be gentle, but Robin insists she is the one being kind here. Myria is just internally screaming as she feels like her backside is about to break. The door swings open as Mama Ella shuts down the drama. It is dinner time, and she is not taking any excuses. She calls the girls out and tells them to get moving immediately. Robin gives Myria one final check to make sure the dust is gone. She immediately swaps her attitude to play the part of the perfect daughter. They tell their mother they are on the way. The walk to the dining room is heavy, so Chloe tries to break the tension with a goofy face. Myria thinks her sister looks great even when she is being weird. She sticks her tongue back at her, finally getting a giggle out of Chloe. The dining table is a dead zone of silence. Myria is internally screaming because she cannot handle the awkward vibes for another second. The tension is thick enough to choke on. Chloe is keeping her head down to stay off Robin's radar. Myria decides her only escape is to focus on the meal, but then she gets a good look at what is on her plate. Her eyes widen as she realizes what she is about to deal with. The menu is a disaster. We are talking colorless soup, tiny portions of black bread, and some withered grass masquerading as a salad. For a girl who loves meat, this is a nightmare. While their mother says grace, their father is already busy devouring a large steak all by himself. He does not even bother with a greeting or sharing the meat he hunted. Myria bites into her rock-hard bread and wonders why he is the only one eating good. The bread is so hard it might actually win in a fight against Myria's teeth. It is even tougher than the breakfast batch, and she is pretty sure she just heard her jaw cry for help. She tries to soften the blow with some soup, but her mom is already ready to drop a lecture about table manners. It is hard to be a refined lady when you're just trying to survive a meal. Robin decides to be a professional hater and labels the whole situation as vulgar. She even suggests to her father that they should put the midget on a diet to save food for everyone else. Her father does not even look up from his own steak while agreeing to the plan. Robin is out here trying to speedrun being the worst sister by cutting off the food supply. Chloe is the only one with a soul and helps Myria fix her meal. She promises that a little soaking will make the bread return to a state that does not break teeth. The word return starts bouncing around the table as Chloe and Alex keep the conversation going. They think they are just talking about bread, but they are playing with fire. Robin is taking the whole conversation personally since she is the one who recently returned home in shame. She is fuming and shaking with enough rage to power a small village. Aaron tells Chloe to have some tact and stop using the word return. Alex immediately sucks up to him, agreeing that his father-in-law is absolutely right. Robin finally snaps and tells Alex to shut his mouth. Her terrifying aura is enough to make him immediately apologize. The dining room falls into a heavy silence after the outburst. Myria focuses on her meal, relieved that Chloe managed to keep her food from being taken away. She starts daydreaming about a legendary yakiniku lunch her grandma once took her to. It is a stark contrast to her current bitter grass and salty soup with a microscopic piece of meat. She misses the days when a meal meant smiles and delicious food. That experience made her feel like she was ascending to heaven. Looking at the night sky, she decides she would choose grilled meat over a forced marriage any day. This miserable dinner felt like falling into the deepest depths of hell. Even the shower is a disaster since the water is ice cold. Chloe is already back at work picking lavender while Myria deals with the freezing wash. She stares at the ceiling, feeling like a failure. Life as a seventh daughter with zero magic really has her in the dumps. But then it hits her that being a blockhead might actually be a huge win. With no expectations and no magic, she can move through this house like a ghost. While the rest of the family is out there working, she is going to be busy gathering intel. Chloe is even down to sneak her into the library once the coast is clear. Chloe wants to get to the bottom of that sudden fever. Our girl just plays along, keeping the act 100% believable. She tucks herself into bed with a comfy smile, finally feeling some peace. Knowing Chloe has her back makes the escape plan feel like a done deal. Chloe gives her a head pat and tells her to stay low and keep up the easygoing facade. As far as the rest of the family knows, she is just an angel, but she is secretly plotting the ultimate exit. A mysterious voice calls out to our girl while she is drifting in a dream. She wakes up with a groggy hum as the world starts to come into focus. The first thing she sees is Chloe leaning over with a gentle smile. It looks like the nighttime operation is officially a go. Chloe puts a finger to her lips to signal total silence before whispering the next move. They are sticking to the plan and sneaking into their father's restricted library tonight. Myria puffs her cheeks after being called a good girl and tries to adjust to the pitch-black room. Chloe tells her to take it slow and let her eyes get used to the dark before stepping out of bed. They tiptoe past their older sisters who are out cold and dreaming of better things. Once they reach the door, Myria gives a signal that she can finally see in the dark. While navigating the hallway, Myria wonders why a hunting-obsessed dad would even bother with a library full of books. Chloe points out that he likely uses magic as a cheat code to hunt high-level monsters more easily. There is also a deep piece of family history involved with the First Lord's dream of reclaiming monster territory. Developing that land would mean people could finally move around without being lunch. Chloe mentions the history might be a bit too complex for her to grasp, and Myria just gives a quiet nod. As they head deeper into the dark, Myria notices how cold her sister's hand is. Even a pro like Chloe is clearly feeling the pressure of this late-night heist. The duo finally reaches the end of the dark hallway. Chloe stops in front of a heavy door and confirms they have reached the library. Chloe starts messing with the handle, and Myria's eyes bulge when she sees a set of professional lock-picking tools. Her sister has clearly been planning this for a while. Myria is totally fangirling in her head over her sister's secret skills. Chloe admits she has been prepping for this day and tells her to keep it between them. The mission is simple. Myria just needs to keep watch for any guards. Suddenly, a loud metallic click echoes through the hall and our girl freezes in place. Total panic sets in as footsteps approach from the other side. With no escape in sight, Chloe grabs Myria and prepares for the worst. Myria clenches her hands and prays they don't get caught. Chloe keeps her pinned against the wall to stay hidden in the pitch-black shadows. Chloe lets out a long breath as the footsteps fade into the distance. The close call was almost too much for Myria, but they need to keep moving before someone decides to return. A final click signals success as the heavy door swings open. The girls quickly slip inside and shut the world out, marking the first major victory of the night. Chloe plays it cool and credits her dark hair for their successful stealth. This sisterly bond is hitting different as Myria realizes she is working with a total pro. Chloe sets her sights on a large desk, suggesting they hunt for a spare key instead of just reading. This strategic pivot catches Myria off guard, but the logic of having their own key is hard to beat. The library is surprisingly small and covered in a thick layer of dust. It is clear that nobody has used this room in years, which makes it the perfect spot for their secret research. The search finally pays off when Myria uncovers a small box containing 2 library keys. Chloe is genuinely impressed by the looting skills of her little sister and calls her a natural. Chloe is not just stopping at finding the keys, she starts prepping a clay mold to make copies. This level of planning is next level, and Myria watches the process in total awe. Myria is totally fangirling over her sister's genius. Chloe isn't just sneaking in, she is planning to make a clay mold of the key to produce a permanent copy. Chloe lets out a soft chuckle. Picking the lock every single night would be a massive waste of time, so a duplicate key is the only logical play. She reaches out with a gentle smile. This isn't a forever thing, just until they extract every bit of useful info from these books. The search begins immediately. Finding books on magic is the top priority for Myria's research. There are other books in the house they are actually allowed to read, but Chloe has already cleared all of those out. This restricted room is where the real secrets are kept. Myria looks up at the massive collection. Even if their father is a muscle-brained noble who avoids reading, the Atwood name still carries generations of history and knowledge on these shelves. Chloe admits she has been scoping this place out and practicing her skills on every other door in the manor. This heist has been in the works for a long time. Chloe gives Myria all the credit for their successful heist. The little sister is confused since she feels like she just tagged along for the ride. Doting on her favorite partner in crime, having Myria around is all the motivation Chloe needs to pull off these risky moves. Scanning the massive collection finally pays off. Chloe reaches up and pulls out a hidden gem. Balancing on the ladder, she holds a rare find. This is a high-level magic book even she has never touched before. A spot on the carpet becomes their study zone. They crack open the 14th revision, which is 6 versions ahead of the public records. The pages reveal another secret. Myria realizes she can read and speak the local language instinctively. Chloe starts the lesson with the basics of mana. Using magic requires having it first, and that all starts with the official aptitude test. The book breaks down the magic aptitude test, showing how different crystal colors reveal your elemental affinity. It is basically a flow chart where a bright light means you're a prodigy, while a dark crystal means your magic journey is over. Chloe breaks down the mechanics while Myria tries to process the info. Chloe explains that a red glow can signal things like blood magic rather than just fire. She reads from the guide, which warns that color is only one indicator among many complex parameters. Myria just nods along and gives her sister the go-ahead to flip the page. The mental strain of the research is starting to show, so Chloe offers to finish the reading herself. She promises to memorize the whole thing and explain it later so the little one can avoid getting dark circles. She really is the goat of sisters for taking on all the extra work. It turns out her sister has a photographic memory, which is a massive flex. Chloe thinks it is perfectly normal to remember everything after one read, leaving them both in a state of mutual confusion. Our MC realizes her sister is built different. Another page turns, but the search for answers is still a bust because there's no mention of Myria's fever. The lack of information is starting to weigh on them as they realize how rare her situation is. This discovery just creates more questions than it answers. The frustration is real as they realize the book has no answers for her specific condition. Chloe shifts the focus to magic manifestation, leaving Myria completely lost. She has to admit she has never even heard of the term and has no idea how to do it. Chloe mentions a specific page in a library book that might have the missing clues they need. This triggers a memory of when she first taught Myria how to read and write. Even back then, she was always looking out for her little sister. Chloe suggests waiting until Robin is gone to start their training. She admits she failed her own attempt at magic, proving it is a lot harder than it looks. Myria realizes that magic is the dream for everyone in this world, and people only stop chasing it after they fail. They agree to start their secret training session tomorrow. Chloe is determined to find out why Myria had such a weird reaction to the crystal. She tests her sister on the reading material, and Myria nails the answer immediately. Seeing her little sister be so smart has Chloe feeling like the proudest sibling. They set their sights on tomorrow for their first real attempt at magic manifestation. Morning vibes are hitting hard. Myria drags herself down the stairs, wondering how everyone in this house starts their grind so early. She spots her mother in the kitchen and asks where her older sister Robin went. Finding out the resident menace is busy at the lavender shed is a major win. It is the perfect chance to sneak off to the library and test out some magic. Just as she is about to head out, her mom drops a reality check. Apparently, she was seen leaving her room in a total rush yesterday. Total panic mode. Myria realizes she was caught and starts rambling about her leg to cover her tracks. She forces a fake smile and claims her leg was just super itchy. Inside, she is cringing at how terrible that excuse sounds. Her mom just sighs, relieved her daughter has not lost her mind to the fever. She warns Myria to stay low profile so the village gossip does not start about her too. Mom wants her to stay put on the second floor like a good kid. She plays it cool while trying to keep her cover intact. Sneak mission successful. Our girl cracks open the door to the Atwood family library. The place is a ghost town and covered in dust. Turns out being a noble family of hunters means nobody actually reads. She drags a stool over to reach the top shelf. There it is, the 8th revision of Magic Principles. Time for the main event. She flips straight to page 61, just like Chloe told her. The first step is all about relaxing and feeling the blood flow. She finds a spot on the floor and gets to work on sensing the warmth in her body. The guide keeps it moving with step 3, telling her to focus all that energy into her dominant hand. Step 4 is all about the incantation. And by step 5, magic is supposed to become as natural as breathing. It all sounds great on paper, but the actual execution is still a total mystery. The manual recommends picturing light at her fingertips since magic words are not even a thing. Reading this is definitely a trip. Time to put the theory to work. She focuses everything on a single point and calls for light. Fast forward 6 hours, and the results are basically zero. She can feel the power humming inside her, but actually making it do something is a different story. It feels like trying to win a game without knowing any of the rules. She has only been at it for half a day, but the questions are already piling up. A quick break is in order before she moves on to the next set of spells, especially since the sun is already setting on her first day of training. Skipping lunch was a rookie mistake, and her stomach is definitely making it known. Suddenly, a weird chill starts pulling her toward the basement. That locked basement door finally comes back to her. She realizes the second key from the library might be the missing piece to the puzzle. She starts wondering when those key replicas will finally be ready, planning to check in with her sister once she shares her magic results. For now, it is all about that training grind as she goes all in on her magic manifestation. Fast forward a few days, and it's mission time. Chloe wakes her up in the middle of the night with the news that the second key really is for the basement. Chloe came prepared with a mountain firefly and a basket to light the way. She tells Myria to stick close so she doesn't trip in the dark. They head down the stairs and find a horde of old tools and barrels that look like food reserves. The place is packed with junk from the family's hunting days. A strange smell of grease and metal hits Myria's nose as they get deeper. Chloe hands over the light so she can get to work on the door. Chloe shows off the replica keys she carved from scrap firewood. Myria is blown away by her sister's craftiness as they finally stand before the door from her memories. Myria realizes just how much she has been leaning on Chloe and vows to pay her back someday. The key finally goes into the lock. The hidden room is much smaller than expected, featuring a simple stone altar sitting in the shadows. Chloe notices a magic square on top, but the darkness makes it nearly impossible to read the markings. A strange heat washes over Myria as she stares at the floating pendant. She finds herself unable to break her gaze. Confident that no curses are present, the older sister decides to be the one to touch it first. Her hand passes right through the light as if it were a ghost. Both sisters are left staring in confusion. Everything changes when our MC reaches out, triggering a violent surge of energy that lifts her off the ground. The magical force erupts into a blinding burst, knocking the sisters away as the pendant releases its power. Myria stares down at the star pendant resting in her hands, still processing the shock of what just happened. She tries to explain the situation to her sister, but Chloe is too overwhelmed, lunging forward to pull her into a crushing hug while sobbing with relief. Once the dust settles, Myria drops a bombshell, telling her sister that she can feel a mysterious presence calling out to her. Chloe immediately goes into full delusional mode, convinced that Myria is just picking up on the voice of her heart. Myria cannot hear a thing and just stares back, looking confused. Seeing her sister so depressed is a vibe killer, so Myria quickly points toward the horizon to clarify. It is not her heart she is hearing, it is something way out in the distance. They start searching the room for a hidden door or a secret passage, but the walls are a dead end. There's nothing else hidden in this library, meaning that voice is coming from somewhere far beyond these walls. With a mysterious silhouette looming in her mind, Myria feels an undeniable urge to find whoever is calling her from the shadows. Chloe drops some cold, hard facts, explaining that the direction she is pointing in is the Great North, a dense forest that marks the end of the human domain. Staring out at the dark woods of the north, Myria cannot shake the mysterious voice calling her name. She stands alone in her room, her mind set on finally getting some answers. Focusing all her energy, she commands the light to brighten until a magical ring forms right in front of her. Chloe looks on in shock, witnessing a miracle. The hype is real as she cheers about finally using magic. She is practically glowing with pride. shouting out to her big sister that they actually did it. Chloe is so overwhelmed that she starts tearing up at the sight of her sister's success. In her mind, Myria looks like a straight-up angel right now. Chloe scoops her up in a big hug, declaring that Myria is officially on her way to becoming a magician. But the celebration is cut short when that same mysterious voice whispers in her ear again. The call is coming from deep within the forest. She knows she will not find peace until she discovers who is behind it. With the image of a mysterious sleeping beauty stuck in her head, she realizes she has no choice. She has to head into the Great North Forest to find her. She is officially venturing deep into the forest on her own. Sorry for dragging you into this, Chloe, but I will be back soon. A single snap of a twig under her foot echoes through the silent trees. The atmosphere shifts as she enters the monster's domain. A weird tingling sensation crawls up her neck like thousands of tiny hands trying to push her back. It is the classic elf's warning, and she is starting to feel the pressure. Suddenly, the gloom breaks and everything gets blindingly bright. She finds a small cottage hidden in the woods and decides to check it out. As she steps through the door, the heavy silence finally breaks. She finally comes face to face with the literal girl from her dreams. The elf woman just stretches and yawns, asking who is bothering her sleep. Our girl is just as confused, wondering who this mysterious lady actually is. We jump back a few days to see what led up to this. The sky is clear, and the vibes are much more peaceful than the deep forest. She is putting in that work and testing out some new moves. With a sharp focus, she commands the wind to surge forth and pierce the clouds. The wind blade slices through the air with surprising power. Success, she managed to snag some high-quality snacks. This fruit is called a wasera, and it is packed with the nutrients she needs for her journey. It usually grows on insanely tall trees, but her magic made the harvest look easy. Myria's wind magic is officially hitting different as she catches the harvest. Great success. Myria's wind magic is officially hitting different as she catches the harvest. Great success. Chloe, let's eat together. Chloe is totally here for the snack break. Thank you, Myria. I gladly will. They take a seat to enjoy the spoils while Chloe gives credit where it's due. Her sister's progress is undeniable. Determination is written all over her face as she asks if the Great North is next. A month has gone by since the pendant in the basement changed everything. The call from the forest is only getting stronger. Chloe is still hesitating about the journey. Safety is definitely her main concern. Reality check. They realize their library research didn't include a monster manual or any way to deal with the forest's residents. Chloe is seriously impressed, admitting she cannot find a single flaw in Myria's power or precision. Hearing that her magic is top tier has Myria basically vibrating with excitement. As they near the northern forest, Myria notices a weird tingling sensation on her neck. Chloe identifies it as the elves' warnings, which happens when danger is close. Chloe explains that humans have the lowest magic levels, so they easily sense the overlapping energy of powerful monsters. Myria listens closely as they venture deeper. Quick lore drop. The human domain is centered around the capital and stays safe because monsters hate being around so many people. The weird part is that the Atwood territory is barely populated, but still stays monster-free. It is such a strange coincidence that the capital calls it one of the territory's great mysteries. Myria correctly remembers her lessons, explaining that a crowd of humans naturally strengthens the local magic and drives monsters away. Chloe gives her a high five for the perfect memory. They reach the exact spot where the lavender fields end and the monster domain begins. Looking at the dark tree line, Chloe asks if Myria is really ready to cross into the unknown. Myria points out the glowing magic threads filling the forest past the boundary line. She is convinced following them will lead her exactly where the pendant wants her to go. Chloe is completely blind to the magic, seeing nothing but empty woods. Myria realizes that while she might not be seeing them with her physical eyes, she can definitely feel their pull. Chloe leans in close, surprised by the intensity of the connection. She asks if it feels like Myria is being physically drawn into the forest. Myria promises to bail if things get too risky while getting distracted by how pretty her sister's eyes look up close. With one last look at her pendant, she apologizes for the worry and prepares to head out. She sets up a signal system, promising to blast a light sphere into the sky if she needs help. Chloe can only watch with a heavy heart as her little sister finally takes the first steps into the unknown. Leaving the familiar world behind, Myria follows the trail of starlight deeper into the woods. Chloe stays at the edge, sending out a quiet prayer for her safety. Suddenly, Myria comes face to face with a mysterious woman who has unmistakable pointed ears. She can hardly believe her eyes, since elves are supposed to be nothing more than old legends from fairy tales. The elf leans in with a direct question, asking if our girl is the daughter of some guy named Galaxia Atwood. Myria is completely short-circuiting, wondering why a fairy tale creature is hanging out in her family's backyard. Trying to bridge the communication gap, the elf asks if she can even be heard before doubling down on the dad question. Myria can only give her a confused look, awkwardly admitting that her father definitely does not go by that name. When asked for a name, Myria drops the absolute mouthful that is Aaron Du Ra Atwood. The elf is just as lost as we are, having zero clue who this random noble is supposed to be. It is hard for her to even say it out loud, but she tries to explain that the muscle-brained hunter is technically the lord of these lands. Just thinking about her useless dad makes her lose all confidence in her own explanation. The elf moves on to the next generation, guessing maybe Galaxia was her grandfather instead. After Myria shuts that down too, the elf's expression turns somber, as she wonders if the man she is looking for is simply gone. The name Galaxia starts ringing some bells, though at first Myria only associates it with a specific brand of chicken bone soup. She tries to think past the snacks, positive she has heard the name somewhere other than a restaurant menu. While she is distracted by thoughts of ramen, a voice rings out directly from her star pendant. It is a sudden wake-up call that snaps her right back to reality. Myria finally connects the dots, shouting that Sir Galaxia was a legendary knight and an ancestor who saved her house. The elf stands there, clearly out of the loop regarding the sudden burst of energy from the little noble. Confused blinks all around as the elf seems out of the loop on her own history. When Myria asks how long ago this legendary ancestor lived, she casually drops that it was about 150 years back. Hearing that her connection is actually a century and a half old makes Myria lose it. She screams at the top of her lungs, unable to process the insane time gap. Our girl is starting to think this elf might be a few sandwiches short of a picnic. Meanwhile, the Lady of the Woods realizes she might have accidentally overslept by a few decades and wonders why everyone is so surprised. Worrying about a century or two is way too much effort, so she brushes the whole thing off with a cheerful wink. Leaning in close, the elf points out that the kid is sitting on a mountain of mana she isn't even touching. A heavy sigh follows as the potential seems wasted without any magical effort. The vibe shifts as the elf declares herself a teacher, ordering Myria to show up every single day for lessons. Pointing a finger at the tiny noble, the Lady of the Woods confirms she is indeed the descendant of Galaxia Atwood. Since there is a duty to fulfill, she declares Myria her official apprentice. Our girl is shook at the prospect of having a real teacher. She asks if she is actually going to learn magic from a real elf. The elf finally drops her name as Titania, though she insists on being called Master. Myria repeats the title back, trying to get used to having a legend as a tutor. Seeing how eager her new student is, Titania offers a gentle smile. Titania rests her chin on her hands with a warm smile, complimenting Myria on her name. A magical teapot tips over on its own to fill their cups with fresh brew. Titania asks about the start of her magic journey, and Myria points to the pendant she found a month back. Our girl cannot take her eyes off the tea set floating in midair. Titania drops a casual reveal that she was the one who created the pendant in the first place. This tool absorbs mana to link humans with her magic threads, making it easy for them to visualize any spell. Myria is floored by the news as the mystery behind her sudden power boost finally makes sense. Master Titania leans back and explains how she even enchanted the forest entrance to keep visitors on the right path. Myria watches the flex with literal stars in her eyes. As they settle in for tea, Titania lets out a long stretch and admits she is still feeling the effects of her century-long nap. Myria realizes the drink in her hand might be just as old as the master. The house and everything in it is frozen in time, thanks to high-level preservation magic. Myria looks around the room, stunned by the scale of the power maintaining this hidden home. Titania takes a slow sip and explains that while magic is essentially lawless, some things remain out of reach. Reversing time or gaining immortality requires more mana than most can imagine. Titania gets back to business, dropping the news that Myria's mana pool is actually insane. There is practically no limit to where her magic can reach. The master points out that Myria has only been coasting because of that enchanted pendant. Without it, she would not even be able to cast a simple light spell. Our girl is still processing her hidden OP status and wondering why she never felt it. Titania explains it is like being in a boat in the middle of the ocean, where you have no sense of scale. The mentor promises her apprentice won't die during training, but then adds a very suspicious maybe at the end. Myria is not feeling that vibe at all. Talk turns to the village aptitude test where the crystal did not even react to her presence. It seems like a major red flag in hindsight. The ancient elf brushes it off, explaining those human magician locators are basically trash. If the crystal has a limit of 100, Myria is already way past the charts. Simply put, no human tool is strong enough to measure her true power level. Myria finally realizes why she came down with such a crazy fever right after the test. Titania explains that a one-night fever is a totally normal reaction for high-mana beginners. It turns out even little elf kids have to deal with the exact same thing. Myria is feeling overwhelmed because all her major life problems are getting solved on fast forward. She takes a quick tea break just to keep her brain from short-circuiting. Our girl double-checks to make sure the master offer was actually legit. Titania just hits her with a smile and tells her to feel honored, since she almost never takes on students. Reality hits hard when Myria realizes she does not have a single cent to pay for these top-tier lessons. She has no cash and no gifts, just some major debt anxiety. The master just laughs it off and says there is no need for payment. Training the person with the pendant was a promise she made to the Atwood ancestor a long time ago. The math finally starts mathing. The reason their territory has not been overrun by monsters is because an ancient master has been holding down the fort this whole time. Maria looks at her master with pure admiration while realizing how lucky she really is. Titania just gives her a wholesome head pat and praises her for being such a smart kid. The weight of a century and a half of loyalty finally hit home, and the pure gratitude left the legendary master momentarily speechless. Brushing off the heavy mood, the ancient elf made it clear that kids should not carry the weight of history and offered up a sugary distraction instead. A few sparks of high-level magic were all it took to summon a basket of cookies that were still warm and fresh. The snacks were a legendary tier hit, and the master had to step in before the kid managed to choke from eating too fast. Even while experiencing the best food of her life, the first thought in her mind was sharing the win with her sister. The sudden panic of being late to the forest meetup set in, leading to a frantic explanation about why her older sister is actually the best. The master decided to end the day on a high note by offering a magical ride home along with a double order of cookies to share. Titania is clearly feeling herself after getting that master title, handing over a bag of snacks like a true mentor. She tells her student to be careful with the goods, enjoying the vibe of her new role more than she expected. Time for a quick tutorial on search magic, which basically works like a living being radar. Titania shows off her power with a flashy magic circle, checking if Maria can feel the flow. Our girl is already picking up on the technique, proving she is a natural. Titania spots the worried older sister waiting in a clearing and tells Maria it is time to head back fast. She praises her student's talent before giving a cryptic warning to watch out for her tongue. Maria barely has time to be confused before the master prepares a very aggressive shortcut. Instead of a normal walk, Maria gets launched into the stratosphere like a human projectile. Titania just waves and yells for her to come back tomorrow for some more story time. The poor kid is just screaming for her life as she disappears into the clouds. Flying through the air at max speed, Maria is convinced this is the end of her second life. She just keeps screaming about getting crushed while the wind carries her across the forest. Back on solid ground, Chloe is hearing some familiar but very high-pitched screaming from above. She looks around in confusion, wondering if she just heard her sister's name falling from the sky. Miria sticks the landing right in front of her sister, still screaming at the top of her lungs. Chloe is stunned as her little sister basically teleports onto the grass. The sheer chaos of the arrival leaves both of them speechless for a second. Chloe is losing her mind after seeing her sister fall from the sky, checking every inch for injuries. Miria just mumbles about her new master casually launching her across the forest with magic. Once the panic settles, Chloe processes the news of a legendary elf taking her sister as an apprentice. Miria confirms the training starts tomorrow with a huge grin. The news gets even better when Miria pulls out a mountain of fresh cookies. Chloe looks like she just saw a miracle, completely stunned by the gift. Chloe is paralyzed by the sight of 10 whole cookies, having a minor crisis over the bounty. Miria watches her sister freak out, realizing just how much this simple snack means in this world. Our girl tries to be the ultimate wingman by offering the entire batch to her sister. She mentions she already had her fill at the master's house earlier, so these are all for Chloe. The angelic act only lasts a few seconds before Miria starts feeling the cookie withdrawal. She stares at the snacks with a halo over her head, wondering if she can sneak just one more. The selfless vibes turn into a shouting match as Miria tries to take back her offer. Chloe is barely holding it together, insisting she only needs one, while Miria keeps changing the deal. Shared the loot like real ones. They split the cookies right down the middle, 5 each, and celebrate the small win. Back at the forest cabin, the master is already predicting the future. She knows Miria is built different and destined for greatness. Titania is already thinking about her student's insane potential. That massive mana pool means the girl can basically master every magic type in existence. She activates her optical link just to see how the sisters are doing. The sight of them sharing cookies with actual squirrels is almost too wholesome. The pure vibes are actually breaking her. Titania is basically short-circuiting after seeing how adorable the two sisters are together. That smile is all the fuel she needs to get serious. She is officially locked in and ready to turn Miria into the greatest magician alive. The very next morning, Miria officially starts her new life as Titania's apprentice. She barely gets a moment to reflect on her crazy family by the river before she starts floating against her will. Titania clearly has zero patience for walking because she just launches our girl through the sky again. A few moments later, the master is already fuming and telling her to hurry up because she is not about that slow life. Miria can only stand there and shudder while trying to explain herself to her terrifying new teacher. They head inside to catch up on all the family drama, but Titania wants the fast-forward version. The elf is suddenly all about efficiency, which is wild considering she just spent 150 years taking a nap. Confusion sets in when Myria realizes her teacher knows her exact address without ever leaving the forest. Titania just shrugs it off, explaining that farsightedness magic makes anything possible. Catching a glimpse of her house through a magical window has our girl thinking magic is the coolest thing ever. Staying humble is the play though, since even an elf master has a few weak spots. Time for the main event. Master breaks out the tea and cookies, and Myria is ready to risk it all for a snack. Chloe is back home just sensing the chaos and worrying for her life. The internal struggle is real. Myria wants those cookies so bad, but she remembers Chloe told her to chill on the snacks and tries to stay strong. It is hard to believe an 8-year-old can be this disciplined. Words of comfort come next, with Titania telling her that Chloe would want her to be happy. Focusing on her own happiness is the new challenge for the future. A gentle head pat seals the deal while she encourages our girl to live life her own way. Obsession kicks in once the master realizes how fluffy Myria is. She finally understands why Chloe is so attached to her little sister, and the cuteness overload is real. Titania asks for the fast-forward version of the story, but even the brief recap has the master going through a full cycle of stress and regret. The more she hears, the more her chill vibe disappears as she realizes how messy this family situation actually is. Hearing about how the sisters barely survived on their own has the master completely slumped in her chair. She is genuinely drained by the tragic conditions they had to endure just to stay alive. The goal is to reach the Royal Girls Academy by age 12, and Titania is surprisingly hyped about the plan. She had no idea a school like that even existed, but she is all in on the idea. They both agree that leaving the family officially through the academy is the smartest move. However, they know the Atwood house won't just let their best asset walk away without a fight. While Myria stays focused on her snacks, Titania casually suggests they simply use high-level magic to fly past the demon territory. Reaching the trade city in the south would be light work for a master mage. The clock is ticking for Chloe since she is nearing marriageable age, and the fear of her being sold off for resources is a heavy weight on their minds. Titania decides to extend her help to Chloe as well, which sends Myria into a total gratitude spiral. The master thinks Chloe is already smart enough, but she is happy to provide some extra backup for the sisters. Titania keeps things professional, reminding her apprentice that she is strictly there as a mentor. She encourages Myria to embrace the academy and value the new connections she will find there. The master mentions having a problem of her own. Myria is left completely lost by the vague hint. It turns out her big issue is just pure laziness. After sleeping for over a century, Titania decides her body isn't ready for work and plans to stay home and do nothing for a decade. Returning to the Atwood house is a hard no. Titania sticks her tongue out and explains that her presence would just cause way too much trouble for everyone. They move outside for a hands-on magic trial. Myria claims she is a specialist in wind magic, so the master asks her to create a breeze strong enough to ruffle her hair. Our girl locks in and gives it her all, but the result is barely a whisper. The wind she generates is essentially the same as a cheap electric fan set to low. Titania is not impressed and calls her out for the weak performance. When she hears Myria has been trying to channel magic using the image of circulating blood from some old textbook, the master completely loses it. Titania drops a truth bomb, telling her apprentice she is not just some ordinary mage. Even with poor visualization, she is barely tapping into a fraction of her actual power. Myria nervously asks if she is normal, only to find out she has triple the mana of an actual elf master. Titania does some quick math and realizes Myria is equivalent to 60 royal magicians. Our MC just stands there, absolutely floored by the comparison. While Myria has an existential crisis about her power, Titania is just hyped to get started. She tosses the girl around like a rag doll while celebrating her discovery. Time skips ahead as the seasons change from summer to spring. A full year passes, and our girl has clearly grown. She checks in with her master via her pendant while Titania is still half asleep. With the connection stable, Myria reflects on her massive growth. She wants to use clairvoyance magic to watch her sister finally pay off her exam fees back at the estate. Titania gives the green light, but warns her not to use the magic for anything sketchy. Our girl is all smiles. She promises to check in again before diving into her mission. The master thinks using high-tier magic as a phone service is a bit much. Myria just shrugs it off since the vibes just felt right. With a final yawn, Titania heads back to sleep. Our MC sends her off with a cheerful goodbye. Locking in for some deep focus, she centers her mind on the flow of her massive mana reserves. She fires off her sonar magic to track down her sister. The pulses ripple through the area until she locks onto a signal at the local church. Switching over to clairvoyance, she gets a direct visual on her target. Chloe is busy teaching kids how to read and write in her spare time. It turns out Chloe has been grinding this side hustle for weeks. After all that hard work, she finally saved up enough copper coins to cover her exam fees. The village priest gives a warm smile as he confirms the news. After 3 long years, Chloe finally saved enough to pay her fees. Our girl is in the back losing it with tears of joy for her sister. Handing over the pouch, Chloe beams with pride. This moment was years in the making. Suddenly, a hand reaches out and yanks Myria right out of her happy thoughts. It is Robin, and she is in a terrible mood. Dragging Myria along by the ear, she screams about wasting time. Our MC scrambles to hide her pendant before her sister notices the magic item. The walk back is pure torture. Myria begs for mercy, but Robin just keeps pulling like she is trying to tear her ear off. No amount of complaining can stop the dragging. Back at the house, Myria uses her magic to heal her throbbing ear. Seeing her father sitting with a strange man, she wonders why nobody is out working. The atmosphere feels way too formal for a regular afternoon. Her father drops a massive bombshell without even looking up. Starting tomorrow, she is officially engaged to some guy named Jabel. Our girl just stares into the void as her brain completely short-circuits. Her mom tries to explain the situation with a gentle smile. After asking if Myria understands, she gets a very clear refusal. The answer is a hard no. The guest doubles down on the announcement, claiming this marriage is her ticket to happiness. Myria can only repeat the word in disbelief. Our girl is officially losing it. Her brain is screaming a hard no as she enters a state of absolute panic. Robin leans in with a venomous whisper, calling her a worthless good-for-nothing while celebrating her future as a useful tool. Myria sits there frozen in horror. While the adults continue their formal talk, Myria catches a glimpse of her star pendant shimmering under her clothes. A new idea starts to form as she focuses on the word useful. If she can prove her value to the family through magic, she might just have a chance to escape this mess. This engagement is not happening if she has anything to say about it. Titania is fast asleep in her room until a frantic voice blasts through her magic pendant. "Please wake up, Master." Myria screams, calling out a full mayday. Waking up to a riddle wasn't on the Master's schedule. Myria tries to hook her interest by asking what is so valuable that even a kid can find it in this territory. Back at the estate, the vibe is beyond cursed. This is bad. I'm about to be forced into marriage, Myria thinks, as she begs her master for a miracle. Titania finally connects the dots and mentions something elven kids always look for. She starts prepping some high-level transference magic while Myria just wants to know what that thing is. Robin is still yapping away, completely unaware that a secret plan is in motion. Our girl is internally pleading for her master to hurry up before this solo act hits its climax. Something small and valuable drops right into Myria's pocket. Titania explains that this rock salt is the best seasoning and is basically impossible to find in the countryside. The realization finally hits our MC. Titania knows the family is broke, and they definitely won't sell off a kid who can locate high-value resources. Titania signs off with a safety net, promising to hide Myria if the plan fails. Our girl is basically sobbing from gratitude as she thanks her master one last time. Back in the lion's den, Myria focuses on keeping her poker face steady as she finally addresses her father. The atmosphere is heavy. Every eye in the room is locked onto her, and the pressure is starting to make her crack. It's now or never. She reaches into her pocket and drops the mythical seasoning right on the table for everyone to see. Dead silence. Myria is spiraling into dread, but her parents are too busy processing the fact that their daughter just found a literal gold mine. She doubles down and pulls out another piece. While they gawk, the master's high-level magic is doing all the heavy lifting in the background. Time to play it cool. She claims she just loves foraging for fun, even though she knows this lie is about as thin as paper. Jebel takes charge, shutting down the immediate engagement and asking his father to hit the brakes. Back in her own head, Myria can't help but glare at her parents' selfishness while realizing she finally has some breathing room. Success at last. While Myria celebrates her small win, Robin is practically losing her mind in the background. Meanwhile, Jabel is already falling hard for our MC, much to her horror. Chloe is carrying a heavy load of guilt. She apologizes for not being able to stop the mess, assuming things would go in birth order instead of this sudden pivot. Our girl isn't letting her sister drown in regrets. Keeping the mood light, she asks Chloe to stay her partner in crime for the next phase of the plan. Chloe is all in, promising to think until her brain fries if it helps her little sister. Their bond is on full display as even the local villagers start noticing how close the two have become. Out in the fields, the conversation shifts to the real threat. Myria admits that Robin is already trying to extort her, demanding a cut of the high-value salt after a rough encounter. It's no secret that Robin has a twisted personality, even if Chloe feels a bit bad for calling out her own blood. As they navigate the family drama, Myria's magic senses suddenly catch on to a new discovery. Myria is absolutely crushing it with her sonar magic, pinpointing every bushel of lavender within a 10-meter radius. She spins around in joy after finding the next haul. Chibi Chloe can only laugh as she thanks her little personal magician for the assist. Chloe suggests they wrap up their work so they can actually talk. While she looks happy, she is privately dreading the coming spring when she has to leave for academy. Even with all the magic prep, she is already starting to feel the sting of missing her sister. Titania just laughs at the human drama, telling Maria to just follow the formalities and get out while she can. Our girl is growling in the background because her master refuses to help her escape to the capital. Apparently, being a legendary elf does not come with a free ride out of the house. Pointing the way to the next find, Maria keeps the momentum going. Chloe thanks her but quickly pivots to the family business, asking if their father demanded more rock salt for his next hoarding session. The demands are getting out of hand, with their father expecting a fresh piece of salt every single week. Chloe facepalms at the sheer stupidity of it all. She knows the old stories about kids having better luck finding treasure are just myths, and the pressure on her sister is getting ridiculous. Looking at the stash of food, Chloe is still annoyed that their parents hoarded all the meat Maria found without sharing a single bite. Maria tells her not to sweat it. She reveals her secret strategy of always sneaking out a snack whenever they are out together. Chloe isn't letting it go that easily. Her expression shifts as she realizes that snacks are one thing, but the blatant disrespect from their parents is a whole different level of mess. Chloe drops some serious wisdom, reminding her sister that real leaders actually reward people for their grind. Our girl is all for it, cheering like a #1 fan. Next up is the reveal of her new secret weapon, a magic sack she crafted under Titania. It is basically a high-tier inventory that only works when she channels her mana. Piles of rare rock salt start pouring out while Chloe stands there glitching. This is not just seasoning, it is a pile of cash hitting the dirt. Sparkling with joy, our girl is already planning how to flip the stash for bank or cook an elite dinner. Chloe is just standing there with her soul leaving her body. Rebooting after the shock, Chloe asks if the master just handed over the bag. The MC reveals she used sonar magic to mine all this gold right from the family backyard. Rock salt is a natural seasoning formed deep in the earth over many years. It is a rare specialty of the western regions, and the secret to its creation remains a mystery. A single crystal is valued at a whole gold coin, which trades for 1,000 copper coins. Visions of an all-you-can-eat meat feast and getting rich fill her head. The hustle is officially paying off, and she is already celebrating the gains. Jasmine is definitely not about that life, telling Myria to chill with the donations before she makes everyone suspicious. Our girl is just happy to agree. Shaking out the loot, she knows her time with Jasmine is limited, so she is making every moment count before things get even messier. Fast forward a month and the salt delivery is right on schedule. Her mother can barely believe the consistent gains. Enter the family hater. Robin is already smelling a rat and demands to know exactly where these high-value rocks are coming from. The situation goes from 0 to 100 when Robin actually puts hands on our MC. Jasmine is trying to be the peacekeeper, but Robin is seeing red. Not on Mama's watch. Ella shuts the whole drama down with a lecture on ladylike behavior, leaving Robin shaking in her boots while the sisters make a break for it. Back to the grind with the coast clear, she activates her concealment and sonar magic to start another secret scavenging run. Checking the coast to make sure Jabel is nowhere in sight. Even with a presence blocker, her huge mana pool makes her stand out like a neon sign. She is still reeling from how persistent that dude was. If this world had a police force, she would have filed a restraining order weeks ago. Time to put the grind to the test. Circulating her mana and tweaking gravity, she finally takes flight. A month of training has her flying on autopilot. The commute to her master's house has never been this smooth. Sticking the landing, she gives her master a bright good morning. Titania is just barely waking up from a nap on the porch. Showing off those flying skills with a big smile, Titania takes all the credit since she is the one who taught her everything after all. Master immediately goes for the creepy sniff and squeeze. Our MC is over it, telling her to stop acting like a weirdo and get it together. Titania is already yawning and looking for a nap buddy. She asks our MC to be her human pillow. That is a hard pass. Chloe is still mad at you, so not a chance. The struggle is real. Apparently being a magical battery for a sleepy elf is a full-time job. Titania promises a wake-up spell this time, but she is not buying it. Sleep deprivation is kicking in. Having a high-level master is cool, until they start using you as a plushie every 3 days. The clink of her pendant breaks the silence. Tactical retreat activated. She scuttles away at max speed before getting caught in another nap trap. Titania mopes from the sidelines while her human pillow escapes. She switches the subject to training and asks to finally learn transition magic. Master weighs the request as the focus shifts to learning something new. Time for a lore dump. Transition magic is the holy grail for shipping and travel, requiring some serious spatial awareness. It is the ultimate cheat code for logistics. Motivation is through the roof. She is ready to put in the work to master this new skill. Titania agrees that it is finally time to get serious. Maria is totally hyped, begging her master to finally spill the tea on transition magic. Titania realizes there is no backing out now and decides the time is right to start the lesson. Just one problem. The legendary master admits with a goofy face that she actually cannot perform the magic herself. Titania is sweating bullets, explaining that even though she is a master of everything else, this specific spell is just too hard. She cannot even handle the sparkle in her apprentice's eyes as she tries to lower expectations. Switching to a wholesome vibe, Titania looks at her apprentice and tells her she really adores her like family. She mentions how much Myria has changed over the last year. It might be a rare phenomenon called reversion, which is basically a massive level up for the soul. This rare glitch in reality can grant someone ancestral knowledge, making them a natural-born prodigy. Titania stares at her student, realizing she might be dealing with a genius. Titania gets distracted by how soft her little companion is while planning out a balanced diet of rabbit meat and cookies. She is reminiscing about some elite water buns she had back in the day while poking her pet. Titania is stalling for time, claiming she is just planning the lesson while sweating bullets. Myria is just waiting for the signal, wondering why her master is acting so sus. Looking at her apprentice, Titania realizes she is dealing with a literal mana fountain. The high-level spells Myria already knows are apparently only using 30% of her total capacity. You cannot just speedrun transition magic because it requires a certain instinct for space. The master starts doubting if a human girl can even reach the level of a basic elf child. It is time to find out if Myria is a genuine prodigy or just a normal girl with high stats. Titania prepares to drop the knowledge and see if her student can handle the pressure. While the master is being all serious, our MC is already planning her ultimate life hack. She is picturing herself using teleportation to hit up an all-you-can-eat barbecue spot with zero commute. The master drops the first major restriction, explaining that you can only teleport to places you have seen with your own eyes. The gravity of the lesson hits Myria immediately as she realizes this magic is not going to be a free pass. Our girl is already trying to find a loophole, asking if her high-level observation magic counts as being there. Titania is low-key impressed and terrified by how fast her student is looking for a way to break the game. Titania is dropping some lore about an elven chief she calls the old bastard. She admits that sometimes you just cannot turn your back on certain stories. The instructions are simple enough. Just fill your body with mana and visualize where you want to be. Our MC is already picking up what she is putting down. You have to coat every single hair and eyelash in magic, or the whole thing will fail. Myria just nods along, acting like this is a normal Tuesday. Master thinks this will take months to learn, but our girl is ready to send it immediately. She takes a seat and starts focusing while the birds just vibe in the background. 1 second she is humming with effort, and the next she is just a ghost outline. Titania is over by the door, having a casual yawn, totally missing the magic show. She pops back into reality with a poof, celebrating her first successful jump. Even if it was short, she actually pulled off high-level transition magic on her first try. Titania is low-key having an existential crisis because her student is a certified monster. She keeps her cool and tells her to work on accuracy next. Master is realizing she created a monster. Common sense is not so common when you're a 9-year-old magical prodigy. The stakes are getting way too high if this girl keeps growing at this rate. One wrong move and she could accidentally teleport over the capital and start a firestorm. Maria is already putting in the reps and spamming her new skill, while her teacher panics in the background. She is far too brave for her own safety. Time to pull the plug on the physical training before someone gets hurt. Classroom vibes only for the rest of the day to keep things safe. Crisis averted because the student is actually obedient and goes along with the plan. Titania is thanking the universe for a girl who actually listens. The deep dive into magical theory begins with a focus on how mana flows through the cells. It turns out magic is just a high-level game of visualization. A week flies by and the lavender harvest is already over. The estate is shifting into jam production mode for the season. Titania drops some serious lore about magic manipulation, while Myria just hopes she never has to throw hands. Master claims mental magic becomes useless once you actually get good at the basics. Our girl starts the grind, locking in and focusing on her breathing. She repeats the mana circulation 40 times to make sure it sticks. One mention of being a cast-out triggers a total breakdown, sending her into a rolling fit on the floor. Cringy memories of her past life are doing way more damage than any monster could. Back at the window, she activates Eagle Eye to scope out the scene. Something outside has her completely shook. The lavender jam is glowing like a legendary loot drop, and Myria realizes her accidental mana leak is the culprit. She tries to stay low while Chloe starts to notice the magic show. Chloe is losing her mind over the radioactive jam, while Myria prays she does not get caught. The secret magic life is getting harder to hide by the second. Staring out the window in disbelief, she realizes her sonar magic might have overcharged the harvest. The fact that she turned ordinary jam into a magical artifact hits her hard. Our girl realizes her sonar magic accidentally supercharged the lavender during the harvest. This magic leak is the reason the jam is glowing with energy. Ella finally steps in to shut down the drama. She decides to take the mysterious jam to the head of the house for a final verdict. Panic mode is fully engaged as Myria tries to keep her cool. She is praying nobody traces the magic residue back to her. The village examiner is stunned by the pure mana baked into the plants. While Chloe basks in the praise, Myria is already holding up a mental guilty sign. The weight of the mistake is hitting hard. Master specifically warned her about unauthorized magic use, and now the secret is slipping. The crowd starts calling Chloe a divine being for her accidental miracle. The rumors are already spiraling out of control as she tries to play it cool. The villagers are fully drinking the Kool-Aid, treating Chloe like a saint while begging for divine blessings. Myria watches the chaos from the sidelines and realizes her sister is now officially a religious icon. One dude is even making the sign of the cross as the hype reaches an all-time high. Robin is cornering her sister to figure out how a girl with zero aptitude suddenly became the talk of the town. The rumors are already spiraling as the crowd watches the intense confrontation. Robin is absolutely seething as the examiner asks why she kept her sister's massive talent a secret. Her ego is taking a serious hit while her aura practically vibrates with rage. Just as Myria thinks the chaos might be a good thing, Baron Hansen's merchant crew pulls into the estate. The news of the miracle is already attracting high-tier vultures who want to report back to their bosses. A mysterious knight sends a special delivery meant specifically for Chloe. Myria watches from the shadows, immediately sensing that this letter is about to make their lives even more complicated. It turns out to be a proposal letter, and the timing is complete trash. Chloe is visibly trembling because these marriage offers were supposed to wait until she was much older. Our girl isn't about to let her sister be sold off to the highest bidder without a fight. She is ready to jump into the negotiations even if she has to use some illegal magic to fix the vibe. Looking at her sister, Myria realizes that Chloe is the only person who makes this difficult household feel like home. She's determined to protect that warmth no matter what she has to face. The night is still young, but the stress is already hitting a peak. Our girl is out here making big promises to save her sister, even if she has zero clue how to pull it off. Inside, things are even worse since everyone is too busy eating to notice her stomach is screaming for help. While the adults feast, our MC is just wishing for a single bun to stop the hunger pains. The mood takes a sharp turn as Aaron starts parading Chloe around like a prize. He is basically selling her off to Baron Hansen right then and there, and the creep is clearly loving every second of it. Chloe tries to use her brain to talk her way out of the deal, but logic has no power in this room. She tries to point out how pointless this engagement is, but the greed on the other side is just too strong. Aaron has zero patience for anything that doesn't put money in his pocket. He shoves her aside, telling her to stop talking and just go back to being a servant. The room goes cold as he snaps at her to stay in her place. Chloe is left shivering from the sudden aggression while her mother can only watch with a look of pure regret. This wasn't how things were supposed to go. Chloe finally snaps and storms out of the room, leaving Myria completely stunned by how fast the family dynamic just shattered. Frustrated by the lack of logic from the adults, she realizes negotiation was never an option. Seeing her sister's pain makes her decide to take matters into her own hands. The men are already treating the contract like a done deal while they wait for the final seal. All it takes is one signature to sign away her sister's future. Our girl doesn't hesitate to break out the secret moves. She circulates her mana and hits the document with a high-tier tracking spell. With a look of pure determination, she vows to block this engagement by any means necessary. Even if it means taking down the entire trading company, she is not backing down. Maria uses her magical pendant to call her master, apologizing for the late-night disturbance. Titania hits her back with a yawn that could swallow a city, claiming she has not slept at all. Titania tries to claim they are sharing the same exhaustion, but Myria is not buying it. Our girl knows she was just catching some extra Z's while her master was probably slacking. The vibe gets heavy as Myria drops the news about Chloe's forced engagement. Titania is shocked by how fast things are moving, knowing that once the kingdom stamps that paper, Chloe's future is basically locked. Determined to save her sister, Myria suggests a simple but effective solution. Why not just delete the letter from the face of the earth? Master Titania actually vibes with the plan. If the document stops existing, the entire problem just disappears like a magic trick. Our MC is already planning the heist of the century. She suggests using telekinesis to freeze the knights and pickpocket the merchant captain like a pro. If the sneaky route fails, Myria is ready to go full Michael Bay and just nuke the letter with explosive fire magic. Titania is officially wide awake now, realizing her student might be a walking natural disaster. Titania is geeking out over blast vectors and magic physics, leaving Myria a bit confused. At least she is proud her student finally checked in before starting a magical riot. It is all about that growth mindset. Master Titania is really leaning into the wholesome vibes, calling their promise a parent-child bond. Our girl is officially the teacher's pet and can only hit her with a shy giggle. Safety first when it comes to magical warfare. Titania drops a major reality check, pointing out that deleting one letter is not enough to stop a determined noble. Myria realizes her first plan was a bit mid and needs to cook something more permanent. The heist just got more complicated. Later that night, she is pacing around her room and discarding half-baked ideas. The weight of her sister's future is hitting hard as she mumbles through different scenarios. A frustrated groan says it all. Exhaustion is setting in, but she manages to recall a niche alarm spell her master uses. She is hyped that her late-night study sessions are actually paying off when it matters most. One quick move and she is ready to lock in. Trying to sneak out is a total fail because Chloe is already there, looking like her world just ended. She wants to know where Myria is headed in the middle of the night. The secret mission just got a witness. Myria gives her sister a confident smile and plenty of reassurance to calm her down. She promises that this engagement is never happening so Chloe can finally stop stressing. It is time for the little sister to handle business. Chloe gives her sister a tight squeeze, whispering a promise to always protect her. Chloe watches from the shadows, begging her sister to play it safe and bail if things get too spicy. With a final nod to her worried sister, she kicks off the ground. Mana starts circulating through her body as she activates her flight magic for the midnight heist. Soaring through the night sky, she wonders if she should gain some more altitude to stay out of sight. Looking down at the world below, she realizes this is her first time actually leaving the family estate. It is a bit nerve-wracking without her master for backup. She checks in with Titania, reporting that the houses already look like tiny peas from this height. It is time to lock in, so she fires up her compass magic to find the target. The magical needle points the way, and she quickly spots the narrow path stretching south. The merchant camp is just beyond the next ridge, exactly where the intel said it would be. Titania checks in via magic to warn her about demons, but our girl is more focused on that tracking spell. The signal is loud and clear as she stays on task. Her master is low-key stressed and tells her to keep the comms open. Myria gives her a quick gotcha before full sending it south. While she zooms through the night, her mind is already on that transition magic for the long trip home. Titania has to chime in just to make sure she hasn't zoned out. She finally spots the merchant camp from above and reports in. Titania tells her to drop her altitude and stay low while she watches over her with her clairvoyant eyes. Something speeds past with a loud whoosh. Panicked, she alerts her master that a monster is closing in, and Titania identifies it as a dangerous Dabbleraptor. The beast reveals itself with a loud roar. It is a giant bird that is attracted to magic, and it is heading straight for her. This thing moves way too fast for its size. Even at full speed, she realizes she cannot outrun it. Titania coaches Myria through her panic as they face the raptor under the moonlight. She shouts back that everything is fine despite the pressure. Following orders, Myria combines her wind and tracking spells for a powerful combo. She launches an oversized wind blade directly at her target. The monster screams as the magic slices through the air, forcing it into a defensive flap. Titania keeps the encouragement coming, urging her to stay focused. The beast tries to dive out of the way, but the homing magic is already locked on. It circles back around with a sharp turn for a second strike. The blade connects with a final hit, ending the threat instantly. Our girl is shocked that she actually secured her first victory against a demon. Titania quickly pivots to dinner, telling her to collect the meat because it tastes just like chicken. This turns her survival mode into a food focus as she starts drooling. Her mind is already on the grill, wondering what kind of sauce would go best with the skewers. The defeated raptor plummets while she dreams of a late-night barbecue. Gotcha. Chicken wings. Myria wastes no time sucking the entire raptor into her magic bag like a late-night snack. She creeps through the bushes, keeping it low-key. Titania tells her to be quiet while our girl admits she is still a bit of a loud breather. The camp is right there. A guard is already half asleep on his feet, while Titania marks the location of the other sentries. Something smells like burnt potatoes in the air. She wonders if it is anti-demon incense before getting her mana flow ready for action. Time for some sleep magic. She whips up a massive wind shield to carry the sleeping spell directly to the unsuspecting guards. Night-night, boys. Myria watches with a devious smirk as the guards hit the deck and start catching some serious Z's. That worked like a charm. Titania gives her a quick shout-out for the clean work and points her toward the main tent for the next objective. Found him. Our girl creeps into the tent and finds the target completely out of it and snoring up a storm. Heist time. She spots the contract clutched in his arms and carefully slides it out, while hoping his rough breathing does not turn into an early wake-up call. Mission accomplished. Titania is already cooking up a plan to rewrite the document so spectacularly that they never come back for Chloe again. Back at the estate, Chloe is a mess of happy tears. She cannot believe she is finally free and declares that she owes Myria everything. The plan worked perfectly. Myria explains how the engagement is officially dead after the Baron supposedly sent a note calling their father an ass. Sisters for life. Chloe pulls her into a tight hug and declares Myria the best little sister in the entire world while they celebrate their win. Maria and her master celebrate their massive win after officially ending Chloe's engagement. Master Titania is only disappointed she did not get to see the Baron's face while he was fuming. Our MC is loving the view of her dad wallowing in despair. He definitely deserves some divine punishment for trying to sell his daughter like property. The girls say their good nights as spring approaches. In this world, everyone gets a year older at the same time since individual birthdays are a royal luxury. Chloe looks peaceful in her sleep, unaware she is about to turn 12. Myria realizes her own 10th birthday is right around the corner too. The reality of the situation starts to weigh on our girl. If Chloe leaves for college, they will be separated for 2 whole years. Supporting her sister's dream is easy, but the thought of missing her is the hard part. The Atwood estate is going to feel very quiet soon. The lavender buds are finally starting to appear. Spring is just around the corner, marking the start of a brand new season. Our girl heads out for a magic manipulation session, but her plans are immediately derailed. She spots a knight pulling up to the estate and shouts that a knight is finally here. The visitor is a woman in full armor, and she definitely is not with the merchants. Our MC is starting to wonder what is really going on here. Seeing a legendary warrior in the flesh in such a remote area is a dream come true. The sheer cool factor is off the charts. Introducing herself as Amnesia La Blue Eyes, she reveals her role as an examiner. She is representing the prestigious Royal Academy. The knight asks for Chloe, sending Ella into an immediate state of panic. Something tells me this meeting is not going to be simple. Amnesia explains that the formalities are starting right now. Chloe is officially on the list for the Academy entrance exam. Ella can barely process the news, but Myria knows this is their big break. The wait is finally over. Finally, the day is here. Myria huffs, her eyes practically sparkling with hype. She has been waiting all year for this moment to finally arrive. Down in the village, the knight asks for directions to find Chloe, leaving the locals totally stunned. Standing at the front door of the estate, she politely asks if Chloe is around. "That would be me," Chloe says, stepping out in her maid outfit. The knight thinks to herself that Chloe looks exactly like the kind of girl a priest would recommend and suggests they head for the church. "Hold it," Robin yells, charging in to stop the vibe. She demands to know what is going on, but Amnesia stays calm and tells her not to interfere since Chloe is taking the academy entrance exam. "I have never heard of such a thing." Robin screams, her brain completely short-circuiting. She is losing it because this entire situation is a complete surprise to her. Amnesia explains that the academy was founded to create a place for women in aristocratic society. It has been 10 whole years since the queen took the throne. Amnesia is low-key roasting the family for being so behind on the times. Robin is busy losing her cool and shouting that the family just does not get news fast enough and the capital needs to work on its marketing. Robin corners Chloe, demanding to know if she kept the academy news secret on purpose. Amnesia calls out the potential for sabotage and offers Robin a spot for a hefty fee. Robin crashes the vibe with a terrifying aura, screaming that she has the cash to join. The knight shuts down the tantrum with a talk about age limits before focusing on Chloe's special abilities. Chloe rides off into the distance, leaving a shouting Robin behind to deal with the rejection. Watching from afar, Myria decides to head back to the master's house to observe the test. Everything is set for the exam, and Chloe's success is basically a done deal. They settle in to watch the exam through clairvoyance. Myria admits she is still a little on edge, while Titania just keeps it cool. Inside the hall, Chloe is crushing the math portion. Her speed is so fast that the papers are practically flying. Myria watches in awe, realizing her big sister is a hidden genius. Titania suggests using magic to broadcast the win back to the family. Meanwhile, the knight calls Chloe forward to give her the official results. The knight breaks into a warm smile. She announces that Chloe passed the exam with a flawless score. Back at the house, the duo celebrates the win. Titania notes that Chloe's math skills were on a different level than the other students. The examiner leans in with a look of genuine respect. She tells Chloe that meeting her made the entire trip worth it. The weight of the moment finally hits, and Chloe bursts into happy tears. She can barely choke out a thank you as the relief washes over her. The knight pulls her in for a heart-to-heart, acknowledging how much she loves the little sister who has been by her side through everything. She shares how proud she is while throwing some light shade at the rougher older sister. Time to pack it up and get moving. The knight reminds her that this entire life-changing opportunity is all thanks to her little sister. She accepts her new path with a solid nod. The knight encourages her to use her gifts for the kingdom, declaring that a brand new life starts right now. Chloe grips her dress tight, holding on to the thought of her sister. Myria promises to do her absolute best, vowing to endure the next 2 years apart no matter how tough it gets. Myria looks up at the night sky as she prepares for the final goodbye. She bursts through the doors of the building and is immediately spotted by a very excited Chloe. The sisters finally reunite in a hug that is pure sugar. The knight watches the wholesome scene unfold, realizing this is the legendary little sister she has heard so much about. Myria is totally mesmerized by the knight's aura. Seeing her standing next to her black-haired sister, she thinks they look like a pair straight out of a fairy tale. The knight jokes about coming back in 2 years to see if the little one is just as sharp as her sister. Myria gives her a confident answer, though her inner self isn't feeling nearly as bold. With a wink and a sparkle, the knight admits that passing should be a breeze since the remote location keeps most applicants away. Later that night, the sisters share a rare quiet moment on a bench. Myria encourages her sister to stay positive, promising that this farewell is just the start of something better. It is gift-giving time. Myria presents a handmade necklace, and Chloe is genuinely touched by the thoughtful gesture. Then comes the weird part. Myria explains that activating the magic requires a ridiculous chant about hair care products, and Chloe is left wondering if her sister's brain finally short-circuited. The magic activates in a burst of light. Chloe is left speechless as the sparkle takes over the scene. It is a total success. Myria explains that the tool is perfect for traveling even if Titania had to spend 6 months of magical labor to make the shortcut possible. Maria celebrates a successful surprise, but Chloe is busy worrying about the fallout. If these magic tools ever became public knowledge, things would get dangerous, so she makes a mental note to stay low-key. The reveals aren't over yet. As Myria shows off a set of custom clothes for the trip, she tells Chloe to look her best in the capital and reminds her to open the secret bag once the journey starts. Seeing the new outfit is the final straw for Chloe, and she can't stop the tears from welling up. She really expected to survive the capital in her old rags, but is now overwhelmed with gratitude. A huge smile breaks through the tears as she hugs the new gear and thanks her sister. She can't hide how much she loves the gifts. Departure time finally arrives. As the steady trot of the horses begins, the family stands together to watch the carriage pull away. Chloe looks back from the ride with a lingering gaze. She tells Myria to take care, her voice carrying the heavy weight of their separation. Myria fights the desperate urge to run out and grab one last hug. She keeps it together, knowing she has to see her sister off with the strength of an Atwood daughter. Tears stream down as she stays behind. Chloe is officially gone, leaving her with one last goodbye. Until we meet again. I love you. Chloe is officially capital bound and the village is losing it. They are already treating her like a holy savior just for making it into the academy. Our girl is just munching in the background while watching the chaos. She thinks this misunderstanding has reached a hilarious level. She cleans up after her monster snack and gets moving. Little do these locals know, she is planning her own escape to the capital pretty soon. Daily training is officially in the books. She stands over the village and tries to figure out how to spend the rest of her afternoon. The estate feels way too quiet now that her sister is gone. She summons some supplies to map out her major goals for the next 2 years. The list is looking stacked. She is splitting her time between mastering top-tier magic and becoming a yakiniku legend. Night falls and the moon takes over the sky. She sends a quiet prayer out to the universe, hoping Chloe made it to the capital in one piece. The night examiner pulls out a special potpourri charm to keep the demons away during their trip. She claims it is a high-tier tool for warding off evil. Then she drops a savage observation about Chloe being suspiciously clean despite not bathing for a month. Normal clothes would be stained and trashed after this much travel. Stunned by the question, Chloe realizes exactly what her sister did but plays it off as a total mystery. She calls it a night to end the awkward conversation before the knight notices anything else. Back in the privacy of her tent, Chloe starts digging through her bag and pulls out the blouse Myria gifted her. The vibe of the fabric feels way too powerful for normal clothes. It turns out every single piece of clothing her sister packed is woven with hidden magic circles. Every outfit is buffed with top-tier protection spells. Wearing illegal magic gear in public is a disaster waiting to happen. It turns out Myria and Titania have absolutely zero common sense when it comes to living like normal people. The journey continues while she prays her sister does not do anything too wild back at the estate. Without her there to keep things grounded, Myria might cook up something truly insane. She finds a field of iron left behind after her older sister moved on. With a focused chant, she breaks down the mounds to begin the refining process. The finished product looks nothing like the iron ore from her previous life. It actually looks more like a muskmelon, which is a fruit similar to a cantaloupe. Iron usually requires massive heat to melt, but her magic turns it into a liquid state effortlessly. She stares at the floating metal with wide eyes. She gets to work and divides the metal into 10 equal portions. Small spheres of liquid iron begin popping into existence all around her. 9 of the pieces transform into small statues with a heavy thunk. They float through the air as she completes the magical shaping. The final piece of iron is stretched out to create a flat cooking plate. She is excited to finally have everything she needs to make yakisoba. She crafts some round nets for her portable grill and decides to store the new statues away. A magic bag appears in a puff of smoke to hold her new gear. Myria is absolutely floored by her new magic bag, which somehow holds 400 tons of iron without feeling a single pound heavier. While she is geeking out over the storage space, Titania's voice suddenly rings out to get her attention. It turns out it is already lunchtime, and the master is checking in to see if she is hungry. Myria is always down for a snack and shouts back that she is ready to eat. Since she is still way out in the forest, Titania decides it is the perfect time for a quick lesson on transition magic. The walk back would take way too long, so they are going to cheat a little with a teleport. Following the instructions, she closes her eyes and starts circulating mana through her entire body. The activation sequence begins as magical sparkles start swirling all around her. She arrives back at camp with a poof, just as the food starts sizzling on the grill. The smell of the cooking meat hits her immediately, and she can already tell this lunch is going to be top tier. Titania is already a huge fan of the new portable grill setup her apprentice cooked up. The veggies are done, and that raptor meat they grabbed earlier is looking perfectly charred. The seasoning is ready and the meat is finally hitting the plate. After a quick cool-down blow, Myria dives right in and starts devouring the meal like she has not eaten in weeks. Titania just watches with a laugh, telling her she definitely has the qualities of a hunter. Myria is absolutely inhaling her food, but something feels a bit off about the flavor. Titania watches her eat and asks if a trip to town is on the schedule. Titania gives her the ultimate side-eye while checking out her stats. Her magic capacity is sitting at a solid 60%, but her master seems to be doubting a past promise. The goal is simple: get that bag to pay for the upcoming exam fees. Titania gives her the green light with a casual shrug. When Titania offers to just pay the tab, our girl hits her with the hardest no. She wants to earn her own keep just like her sister, even if it means sweeping floors once a week. Sitting together by the fire, Myria admits she really does not want to go back home yet. Her master gives her a gentle head pat, knowing their time together is starting to wind down. Myria goes in for the big emotional hug, while shouting for her master. Titania just smiles and suggests they hit the bath to relax. The mood flips instantly as Myria gets hyped for some soak time. Titania just chuckles at how easy it is to make her student happy. Titania lets out a long sigh while relaxing in the steaming water. Myria is absolutely loving the vibe, even though she technically pitched this bath session as a form of magic training. They loved the soak session so much they built a whole shed just to keep the tub vibes going. Titania reminds her that the trip to Hamatira starts tomorrow morning, and Myria just gives a sleepy confirmation. Master checks if she remembers all the teleport locations for the trip. Our girl is feeling super confident, claiming she has done the transition routine 30 times already. Even with the reassurance, Titania promises to give her a call later to check in. Myria is low-key buzzing since this is officially her first real outing in this new world. Next morning, she finally touches down in the middle of the city. Seeing this many people in one place is a total culture shock after living out in the boonies for so long. Just looking around the busy streets is a whole adventure on its own. This place apparently makes a fortune from wool, but she hears the local lord is a bit of a womanizer. Time to secure the bag by selling off some of those dabble materials at a local shop. The clerk asks if she is an errand girl and suggests selling the beak and feathers first to see how it goes. The clerk checks out the bird parts and quotes a price of 5 silver and 40 copper. Myria is low-key shocked that it was this easy to secure the bag. He even offers her a snack, probably thinking she is just a cute kid doing errands for her parents. Walking out, she realizes she officially has more than enough to cover those academy exam fees. It is almost hard to believe that her first real payday was this simple. Master's voice pipes in to remind her that this was not just luck. This is the result of all her hard work and talent finally coming together. She is told to keep her head up because her grind is finally starting to pay off. There are way bigger things waiting for her in the future than just selling materials. Titania warns her that overthinking everything will just lead to burnout. Our girl is feeling the love and gives a solid nod of agreement. Since she could not find any soy sauce in the city, she is already planning to just brew her own. She is hyped about the rest of the groceries and cannot wait to share a feast with her master. After the exam fees and the massive food haul, she is officially down to her last 2 copper coins. Titania asks about the gold and silver in her bag, but Myria knows a kid cannot exactly walk into a shop with that kind of currency. Our girl is not about to sell the good stuff for quick cash. She is already planning to craft some custom jewelry for her sister instead. The logistics are already moving. If she gets the parts shipped now, the gift will hit the academy dorms just in time for the big party. The hype for the gift is real. They are both sure that Chloe is going to love the surprise. Late night at the Royal Academy student dorms, Chloe gets a surprise package and has a feeling it is from her favorite little sister. She opens it up to find a necklace so flashy it is almost too much. She can already see her sister's excited face in her mind as she looks at the treasure. A heartfelt letter was tucked inside as well. Seeing that her sister is thriving back home is really all she needed to keep her spirits up. Fast forward 1 year since the Hamatare trip, and the grind has not stopped. Titania is playing the strict master role, shouting at Myria to stay focused while she works on a mysterious barrel. Our girl is locking in, activating her aging magic with a serious look on her face. This is not just a hobby, she is trying to manifest a mature version of herself through pure magical output. 4 years into this reincarnation, and it all comes down to this final stage. She lifts the lid with a shaky hand, asking her master for the ultimate verdict on her work. The color and smell are hitting the right notes, but the flavor is the real test. She takes a tiny drop for a taste and the reaction is immediate. The discovery of real soy sauce causes total chaos, with Myria shouting the name like she just found buried treasure. Titania just looks on in confusion, telling her student to settle down and stop talking nonsense. A full year of research finally pays off and the soy sauce is officially a success. The two of them share a massive celebratory hug, because nothing brings people together like a culinary breakthrough. This long journey started with a few soybeans back in Hamatare, leading to a year of endless heating, stirring, and fermenting. Even with a mountain of failed attempts, she never gave up on her dream of bringing shoyu to this world. Tears are flowing because she finally did it. It has been a long road, but the flavor is unmistakable. Titania takes a taste and admits she has never had anything like it in the elf village. Myria is already shouting because that batch was reserved for the chicken. The smell of meat sizzling with that sauce has them both losing their minds. Without warning, she makes a move and snatches a skewer right off the grill. Pure goblin mode as she shoves the whole thing in her mouth. Her master is left in the dust, yelling for her to wait up. One bite and the entire world just stops. They are both ascending to a different dimension of flavor. She reflects on how her master was skeptical at first, but eventually got caught up in the hype. Honestly, she is just grateful for all the help. Resting outside after the feast, she drops a bombshell that soy sauce was just the start. The real goal is yakiniku sauce, and her master is already hooked on what is coming next. The checklist for her goals covers everything from travel magic to high-end barbecue gear. There is still a long way to go, but the progress is real. The promise of a future meat feast is on the table once the cooking set is ready. It looks like the vegetarian elf stereotype is officially dead. A sudden summons for a talk changes the mood at the estate. Something about the congratulatory tone feels incredibly wrong. A huge announcement comes with a smile. She just found out she has been promised as a wife to Baron Hansen. There is a strong suspicion that this whole deal is just a play for her rock salt. The internal screaming is reaching a breaking point. The engagement is scheduled to move forward as soon as the merchants arrive this summer. A heavy silence fills the space as the conversation ends. Freedom now depends entirely on passing the academy exam before spring. If the enrollment goes through, the marriage plan might just fall apart. Myria is already mentally checking out, planning to ditch this toxic household the second she gets enrolled. Messing with letters is too much work, so a clean break is the only way. She slumps over with a heavy sigh, realizing she got her hopes up for nothing. Here she was thinking her mom had a gift for her, but instead it is just more drama. The exam is only a month away, and the thought of seeing her sister again is the only thing keeping her going. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. Her dad drops the hammer with zero chill, announcing she is officially being sold off as a wife to Baron Hansen. Apparently, her entire future is just a bargaining chip for some forest usage deals. Looking back, her sisters Penelope and Clara were married off to the same family because they were considered harmless. It seems like a recurring theme in this house to just trade daughters away. The rest of the house is actually celebrating this mess, acting like she just won the lottery. They are even wishing her luck in Hamatare, like this is some kind of upgrade. Robin is out here acting unhinged, screaming about how Myria finally needs to contribute something to their father. She is doing way too much, trying to frame this forced marriage as some noble duty. Robin goes full unhinged, cackling as she predicts Myria being abandoned and sold off. Watching her sister suffer seems like her new favorite hobby. Our girl nibbles on some sad bread as the reality of her situation sinks in. One look at her empty drawer and she starts calling herself useless. Sudden loud banging on the door kills the depressing vibe. A guard rushes in to announce that a knight has arrived. Countess Amnesia of Blue Eyes makes a grand entrance as the Academy's official examiner. Catching Myria off guard, she arrives months earlier than expected. Manners clearly are not Aaron's thing as he gives the noble a side eye and asks what she wants. Even the local spirits are shook by how disrespectful he is being to a countess. Professional as ever, Amnesia reveals she is there on a special recommendation from her father. She is ready to start the selection process for Myria right now. Silence fills the room until the family starts questioning the sudden visit. Robin tries to sabotage everything by calling Myria a dim-witted failure, but the Countess shuts her down. The Countess brings a heavy atmosphere. Ella is visibly shaken by how much stricter she seems this time around. Robin loses her mind and slams the table. She screams that Myria needs to just shut up and accept the marriage to the Baron before things get even uglier. Things get dark as Robin questions where Myria got all those copper coins. She is fuming that her little sister would dare keep the profits from selling rock salt. Our girl is shaking with pure dread. Robin's terrifying energy reminds her way too much of her toxic father from her past life. A hand reaches out to pull her back from the edge. Amnesia leans in to whisper that she should just relax and stay calm. The Countess announces she is taking Myria into her custody immediately. As they walk out into the cold night, Myria is reminded of the last time she spent with her big sister. Mounted up and heading out, Amnesia drops a bombshell, revealing that Chloe was the one who asked her to come and collect Myria before anyone else could get to her. Amnesia explains that while there are 3 parts to the exam, the written and interview sections are basically just bonus points. Everything really depends on raw magical ability. It turns out the kingdom is running low on skilled magicians, so even basic magic is a big win. Myria takes a moment to process the low expectations. Amnesia laughs to herself, seeing how much Chloe truly cares about her sister. She tells Myria it is time to show what she can actually do. The request for magic has Myria overthinking things as she sits on the steps. She has so many spells in her arsenal that she actually has trouble picking one. Myria finally asks if she can just use light magic. Amnesia is totally fine with it and tells her to go ahead with an illumination spell. Our girl gives a polite warning for the Countess to cover her eyes because this is about to be blinding. She is fully energized and ready to show off. Thinking back to her training, Myria starts the spell and prepares for the impact. She tells the room to lighten up as the mana begins to flow. A literal flashbang goes off, turning the entire room into a sea of white. The Countess is left speechless as this simple light spell turns out to be way more than anyone bargained for. The flashbang was clearly a bit much. Amnesia is struggling to see anything through the spots while the power scale officially breaks. Trying to blink away the blindness, a quick pivot to healing magic is the only way to fix the mess. Vision is restored in record time. It is a full damage control situation as our girl begs for forgiveness. The knight is not letting it go that easily. Suspicion levels are through the roof as she questions the high-level healing spell. A total slip of the tongue. One mention of a teacher and the secret mission is in jeopardy. Cue the emergency gaslighting. A desperate claim about Mother Nature being the teacher is the only play left. Thinking back to the lessons, it turns out that restoring things takes way more brain power than just blowing them up. Amnesia is finally realizing that Chloe wasn't just hyping her sister up for fun. This kid is actually the real deal. According to Chloe, Myria is destined to be the face of the entire kingdom. The expectations are officially through the roof. The news is so wild it practically shakes the building. Someone is having a major freak-out moment. Apparently, Titania thinks our girl is still 10 years too early to be calling herself a master. Talk about a reality check. Amnesia is getting a bit of an emotional level up here. Even at 80% power, she is feeling humble. The knight is officially convinced. She has zero doubts that Myria is going to breeze through the exam. Hearing that from a professional knight has the hype levels peaking. The dream is finally starting to feel real. The thought of reuniting with her big sister has Myria vibrating with pure hype. Amnesia keeps it professional, reminding her that the academic grind isn't over yet. Time for a skills check. Amnesia wants to see what else is in the toolkit, while Myria mentally crosses transition magic off the list to keep things low profile. Playing it safe seems like the move. She reflects on how her previous attempt went a bit too hard and tries for a more controlled output. Floating water blobs fill the air, and one look at Amnesia's face tells Myria she failed the Be Normal challenge again. The knight is officially speechless. Amnesia has to clear her throat just to process the sheer variety of spells coming from a child. It's a certified, truly impressive moment that leaves Myria awkwardly sticking her tongue out. The sun goes down, but the hustle doesn't stop. Amnesia offers a rain check for the written exam, but Myria is on a mission to finish this and leave her old life behind tonight. The academic portion hits different. Memorizing a mountain of noble names has the magical prodigy face planting on the stairs in total defeat. Amnesia steps into the room with the exam results, and the vibe is heavy. Myria is mentally spiraling, convinced her score is going to be a disaster. The knight calls her by her full title before dropping the big news. She officially passed the exam, and the relief hits so hard she can barely get the words out. She doesn't even think, just launches herself into a huge hug while repeating that she actually did it. It is a massive win for our girl after everything she has been through. Amnesia is feeling good about her choice to show up early for such a talented mage. Myria is struggling to keep it together though, because these young emotions are way harder to control than her past ones. She promises to give it her all while finally letting the tears flow. The thought of being trapped in that toxic village forever is finally a thing of the past. The last 2 years without her sister were a nightmare in that household. Trying to play the part of the perfect daughter while having no real place there was taking a serious toll. The waterworks are in full effect as she realizes she is finally free. Reunited with her sister and leaving the past behind, her real journey is just starting. Amnesia doesn't hold back on the praise, pulling her in for a well-deserved hug. She tells Myria she did a great job giving our girl the validation she has been starving for. Later that night, Myria is soaring through the air as she leaves the estate. She is catching air and heading back to her safe space with a big smile. She pulls up to the window and starts acting like a menace to her master's sleep schedule. Claiming to be the ultimate cuddle pillow, she dives in without a second thought. Bedtime routine looks a bit different when you have maxed out mana. A quick purification spell later, and she is feeling fresh enough to finally catch some sleep. The sun is up and Myria is already on 10 while the rest of the world is still waking up. Her morning greeting rings out through the forest as she starts her first day of freedom. Titania is definitely not a morning person, sitting on her favorite stump in a total daze. She drops a yawn that is so big it basically takes over the entire scene. The master tries to gaslight her way out of the embarrassment, claiming she was definitely not yawning. Our girl is not having any of it though, and the two immediately start bickering. Titania is hyped that Maria passed the exam, admitting she watched the whole performance through clairvoyance. She drops a heavy-looking bundle and signals that it is time for a surprise. Master encourages her to open the package with a knowing smile. This is a big moment for Myria, who has never actually received a real gift before. The gift is revealed to be a brand new set of clothes, and the quality is enough to leave our girl totally starstruck. Her eyes are sparkling as she takes in every detail. Seeing Myria celebrate makes the whole thing worth it for Titania, who asks for a quick fashion show. Our girl is all in, already hugging her new gear while agreeing to try it on. Outfitted in her new gear, she looks like a completely different person. Master calls the look cute, but drops a joke about her needing to stay quiet to maintain the ladylike vibe. The specs on this gear are out of this world. Each piece comes with anti-degradation, automatic cleaning, and resistance to both physical and magic attacks. Titania reveals the secret is a special yarn mixed with mithril. Mentioning powdered mithril has Myria shook because she knows exactly how expensive that material is. Titania hits her with the ultimate smug face, acting like those expensive materials were just a bunch of rocks. Myria is visibly touched, clutching her new gear while her master keeps the flex going. The master presents a top-tier meal as a reward for all the hard work. She reminds Myria that she deserves a real break after cramming for her exams all day. The two sit down to eat, and Myria is all smiles as they dig in. Food just hits different when you're finally eating with your real family. Myria gives her master a final squeeze while the master tells her to stay safe. She admits she will miss her dearly, but is determined not to be lonely on her journey. Titania mentions that mastering transition magic means Myria can visit home in a literal instant. Our girl tries her best to sniffle back the tears as she listens. Standing outside the forest cottage, Titania flexes that she will be off to the edge of the world soon. She tells Myria to dry those eyes because they are bound to meet again soon. Shimmering in her high-tier new gear, Myria gives one last radiant smile. She thanks her master for everything and promises to see her again. Titania watches her student go with a soft look while wishing her the best. Back at the church, Myria pushes open the doors and announces her return with a happy greeting. Myria is hit with a shock when she looks up to see the room is full of people. The entire Atwood family is standing right there waiting for her. The family starts whispering about her fancy new outfit and wondering if it is really her. Myria starts panicking and wonders if she should switch back to her acting dazed mode to avoid suspicion. Amnesia drops the bomb that our girl is officially a magic student now. Myria plays it cool with her dazed act while the family stands there in shock. Aaron and Robin are not buying it for a second. They demand a live demo, and Myria actually considers just blowing them all up with a flame spell. Aaron tries to claim her back now that she is a valuable mage. Amnesia just smirks and covers her eyes because she knows exactly what is about to happen. Myria lets it rip with the same overpowered flash she used before. The entire room turns into the surface of the sun. Everyone is screaming in pain as their retinas get roasted. The light is so intense it bleeds out of the church windows. The priest is down for the count, and someone thinks the apocalypse has arrived. It is total chaos in the pews. Our girl follows up with some remote healing magic to patch up the priest before he passes out. She tells him to take a seat while he recovers. Amnesia leans in and whispers that the light blindness will only last a moment. She tells Myria they should get out of there while they still have the chance. The priest just smiles and tells them not to worry about it. He claims he did not see a single thing and gives them a complete pass for the chaos, heading for the exit with a determined stride. Our girl has one last message for Robin to settle the score for the last 4 years of misery. She tosses a mocking look over her shoulder as she makes her final exit. Goodbye, my cheating, divorced older sister. The family drama is finally in the rearview mirror as she walks out into the sunlight. Her mother and the priest wave from the window as she heads toward her new life. She is already dreaming about all the top-tier barbecue she is going to eat. Her mind is filled with visions of grilled meat and sharing happy meals with the people who actually care about her. The peaceful vibe is shattered by a sudden crash. Amnesia wakes her up in a tent and explains they need to move fast because she has been out cold since the moment they left the village. A sudden crash rocks the campsite, and the tent starts shaking like crazy. Myria realizes something is coming and prepares for the worst. Sonar magic pings a threat with huge power levels just a few dozen meters away. Peeking out of the tent reveals a nightmare scenario as a demon approaches. Zernitra the demonic dragon towers over the forest under the full moon. This is the same legendary beast that once took 100 magicians to seal away. The horses are starting to panic as the legendary beast draws closer. Amnesia tells Myria to hurry up before the animals get too spooked to move. Amnesia handles the tent retrieval while Myria scrambles to get ready. The dragon keeps a terrifying glare locked on their position from the distance. The dragon's giant eye narrows as it locks onto them. They have been spotted, and things just got a whole lot more dangerous. The beast lets out a deafening roar while a complex magic circle forms in the sky. Myria realizes it is conjuring something dangerous and slides across the ground to keep her balance. She throws everything she has into a cat-shaped defense formation, going for max power to block the incoming disaster. The dragon lets out a terrifying roar, but our girl is already activating her counter magic. Amnesia is screaming for her to stop as the forest explodes around them. Backing down is not an option, because she knows they are cooked if she does not hold this line. Refusing to lose this fight, she calls for more magic as she faces down the beast. Activating her counter, she watches as a massive black cat manifests from the light to catch the dragon off guard. The command is given and the spirit cat slams its paw directly into the dragon's face. The giant cat punch connects with a massive explosion, proving that cats really do run this world. Welcome to the Address Helm Royal Palace Auditorium, where the vibes are way too intense for a casual school day. A voice echoes through the massive hall, calling Myria Du-Ra Atwood to step forward into the light. Our girl is having a major internal meltdown and questioning every life choice that led to this moment. She is sweating buckets while wondering how things escalated this far this fast. Amnesia tries to snap her out of the trance, but Myria is already dreaming of using transition magic to teleport home and hide. The pressure is on because the queen is waiting for her to make a move. Myria finally snaps to attention with a nervous shout as a royal scepter hits the floor with a heavy thud. Someone tells her there is no need to be tense, but that is easier said than done in a place like this. Meet Queen Kushana, the ruby of the Address Helm Kingdom, who looks like she just walked off a high-fashion runway. She stands tall with her ornate staff, ready to address the young mage standing before her. Myria is starstruck by the majestic aura and manages to stutter out a formal greeting. It is hard to keep it cool when you're face-to-face with the actual ruler of the country. The queen gets straight to business by mentioning the massive victory over the demonic dragon Zernitra. She even has a dragon claw as physical proof that our MC is a certified powerhouse. Amnesia confirms the dragon claw is 100% legit, prompting the queen to finally get down to business. She asks if Myria really managed to take down that ancient dragon all on her own. The chatter in the hall is getting intense as everyone wonders how a kid could pull off a stunt like that. Myria stands her ground and confirms that she definitely used magic to secure the win. Our MC is low-key annoyed that nobody believes her right now. In her head, she is just confused because that supposedly legendary beast felt like a total pushover. The queen is officially intrigued and calls for a little show and tell. Myria reaches into her magic sack, asking if they are actually ready for the main event. She activates her gravity magic and pulls the entire massive dragon corpse out of thin air. The whole room goes dead silent as the literal legend drops onto the palace floor. The queen expected some evidence, not the entire monster. Myria casually mentions she bagged the dragon while it was still warm to keep the materials fresh. Impressed by the absolute flex, the queen looks Myria right in the eyes. She makes her move and offers to purchase the entire demonic dragon right then and there. The ruler of the kingdom is her first customer. Flipping the materials at a local town shop was the original plan. Her reaction is hilarious to the queen. Commoners would definitely take notice if she tried to sell these parts on the street. The royal treasurer steps up to deliver the official appraisal for the dragon materials. Without missing a beat, the queen offers up 1,800 gold coins for the haul. Our girl is just standing there with a blank stare, her brain fully rebooting at the mention of that much cash. The math is starting to get out of hand. At an exchange rate of 10 silver per gold, 18,000 silver coins is way more than her brain can handle. Myria stammers through her confusion, trying to confirm if she misheard the count of the gold coins. The queen mistakes her panic for a high-level negotiation tactic and finds the freshman's nerve hilarious. She laughs and decides to round the price up to 2,000 gold coins, leaving our girl physically vibrating from the shock. Next is an offer for a knighthood. Mentally checked out and drifting through space, she is already thinking about how this money will help her sister. Even though she is not even an academy student yet, the queen is ready to make the call. The idea of being a noble again is a wild shift in perspective, but a court ranking is already on the table. Our girl straight up says no to the promotion. The room goes silent as she awkwardly declines the offer. Amnesia is losing it. She starts begging the queen for forgiveness, blaming the weird upbringing at the Atwood house for the rejection. Her Majesty is surprisingly chill. She tells the knight to stand up and admits that growing up in a house like that must have been a struggle. Myria is only thinking about her sister. In her head, Chloe is the real hero who kept her going, so taking a higher rank first feels wrong. The queen acknowledges Chloe's talent while the big sister herself catches a sudden sneeze across campus. Her Majesty decides to bench the noble promotion until Chloe is officially knighted, causing Myria to go into a bowing frenzy. Amnesia just slumps over, completely drained by the social chaos. Since the knighthood is a no-go, The queen pulls out a backup prize. She presents the Order of the Dragon Slayer and a special star insignia. The queen asks for her thoughts on the new arrangement, checking if the rewards are to her liking. A beautiful dragon badge and silver star sit before her. She ignores the titles entirely, focused only on the incredible detail of the silverwork. The crowd is going wild. They are shouting about the youngest dragon slayer ever and thanking her for the victory. The queen lets her know that the insignia is a mandatory part of the school uniform. Our girl is caught off guard and starts panicking through her response. There is a secret mission on the table. The dean wants her to solve a major mystery hidden within the girls' academy. Inside the throne room, the queen gives her the official welcome. She is impressed that our girl passed such a rigorous test. Cue the aggressive bowing. She is practically vibrating with gratitude and cannot stop saying thank you. Looking at the castle towers, the reality finally sets in. All that praise is making her feel embarrassed, but she is also hyped. Cut to 1 week later, the entrance ceremony is officially over and her new life is finally starting. Maria is finally suited up in her academy uniform, looking like a total pro. She does a final check on her Dragon Slayer badge and medal before heading out. She is officially ready for the next chapter of her life. The squad is looking strong with Master Titania and Amnesia, giving her a proper send-off. Amnesia lets her know she will be working in the staff room if she ever needs a friendly face. It is finally time to join the rest of the students. Stepping onto the school grounds feels like walking into a dream. Between the massive castle towers and the fancy clock tower, the scale of this place is unreal. Our girl is so distracted by the view she almost misses someone calling her name. This is the big reunion we have been waiting for. Myria sprints full speed into Chloe's arms for a massive hug. They are both crying happy tears, finally together again after everything they went through. They stay locked in a hug, just soaking in the fact that they made it. Chloe keeps repeating how glad she is that her sister is safe and doing well. This is easily the most wholesome moment of the entire series. Big Sister mode is officially activated. Chloe wipes her tears and offers to give her a private tour of the school before the entrance ceremony begins. She even tells Myria to hold her hand so she does not get lost or trip. It feels just like the old days. Myria is flooded with memories of their time together, while Chloe gets a bit playful. She starts pinching Myria's cheeks, laughing about how they are still as soft as ever. Chloe is lost in thought, comparing her sister's cheeks to premium snacks. She is convinced no amount of gold is enough to buy that kind of quality while the kid just waits for her to snap out of it. A quick cough and an apology later, she is back in the room. Seeing her sister again has clearly put her brain on overload, but they are both just happy to be together. They head out into the academy grounds, moving past the small talk. The big sis is so hyped for this tour that she wouldn't even let the dean help out, and it is clear some family dynamics stay the same no matter where they are. The official welcome to the Adreshelm Royal Girls Academy finally happens. This is the start of the dream they have both been chasing, and the energy is perfect. Being in the royal capital is a dream come true for our girl. She makes it official with a formal introduction, and even the locals seem impressed by the polite energy. The massive academy architecture sets the scene for their walk. It is good to see that the move hasn't changed her signature cheerful personality one bit. It turns out she is a campus celebrity, as students cannot stop shouting out compliments as they pass by. Seeing her sister get this much love is a brand new experience for our MC. Chloe finally notices their outfits do not match and asks Myria how she even passed the exam without knowing the basics. Our MC has zero excuses and just asks for forgiveness on the spot. A random student explains that every department from business to engineering has its own unique drip. The crowd starts gathering as the faculty calls for everyone to form up. Big Sis gives Myria a gentle pat on the cheek before the ceremony kicks off. She promises they will catch up later, especially about that dragon stunt she pulled. Chloe starts planning a meeting spot but then remembers she is a high-tier mage. She shouts back that she will just use sonar magic to track her down after the event. Watching her sister walk away, Myria realizes she really is a top-tier talent. That incredible magician energy is hard to miss. A lady in a suit stops Chloe in the hall to confirm her identity. She introduces herself as the royal treasurer and says she is here to drop off a bag on behalf of the queen. It turns out the queen personally bought the dragon Myria took down and sent the payment to her sister. Chloe is left wondering just how deep the bag actually is. Chloe loses it when she sees the mountain of gold. She lets out a shout for Myria that echoes across the academy grounds. Back in the hallway, Myria stops in her tracks and wonders if she just heard her sister screaming her name. She shakes it off, distracted by the way the shimmering lights dance through the hall. The scale of this place puts her old home to shame. Magical glass diffuses rainbow light everywhere, turning the entire hall into a dreamscape. She has done entrance ceremonies before, but this one hits different. Nerves are starting to creep in, but the excitement is way higher this time around. With Titania and Amnesia backing her up, she knows she is not soloing this journey anymore. She looks forward with confidence as the attendant calls for all new students to enter. Looking out at the sprawling academy campus, it finally sinks in. This is the official starting line for her brand new life. That's it for today, guys. If you made it to the end, comment Myria so I know you're real ones. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Until then, keep on cooking.